Guys, how are we this morning? It's January the 9th, 2023 today. Monday, so I kind of love Mondays. We got to look forward to a week's worth of trading. So okay, so who we got in this morning? Julian, morning. What? How you doing, buddy? Ranwolf, good morning. Let's practice patience and only take those high probability trades. Excellent advice. Nicholas, morning. Sharon, how you doing? Leading loser, morning. Keto, morning. Okay, so markets today. I think most markets are up today. Had a browse this morning. I know stocks are up. Cryptos have even had a bit of a push. The S&P is up. I think the Nasdaq's up. The Russell's up. I think bonds are. Everything's up. I think at the moment. So I think it's highly feasible that we may get a push today. It's hard to say at the moment. If you have a quick look at the daily, you can see we've got this overall trend leading to the beginning of last year. And then we've had a little bit of sideways movement, and we broke above this little bit of a range. So whether we will get a push up today or whether we'll break it and fail and come back in, it's hard to say. So at the moment, we seem to be having a little bit of a trend. Whether we're going to come back into this range area, it's hard to say, but it certainly looks like we've got an upward bias at the moment. So Roger, morning. Albert, good morning. Buddy. You're a new face, I think. Welcome, buddy. How you doing? Where you from, buddy? I'm sure you're a new face. Dream Trades, good morning. Just in case nobody knows, let me just open my mails here a second. Let me just take them out of shot in case anybody gets to see my millions. Let me have a little look. I wish, by the way, that was a joke, by the way. Where are we? Okay, I'm just going to drag this into picture quickly. If I can do it. Can I do it? I think I can. There we go. Can you see that? There you go. First payment. $2,000 approved on the 6th of January 2023. So that is my first ever payment. So it clearly can be done. And you can see the $2,000 come out. $2,000 has come out of my overall payment, so it's showing 54,668. So I'm still 4,000, just under 4,700 in my account. Yes, sorry, I do apologise. It is a good feeling. It'd be even nicer feeling when I can see it in the bank, but it's been authorised anyway, so I'm not concerned at all. So, but the beauty about having this $2,000 now is it does enable me to cut my hours in my job. Now, some of you know I actually work for an agency, so I pick and choose my own hours. So I'm quite lucky there, and I've worked for the last sort of 12 months, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so I can trade Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now, the beauty about having this payment now is it enables me to cut back the Fridays and the Mondays, so I can trade now 5 days a week, because I can earn more money per day. The amount I've done so far averages about $470 a day on average, which is more than double what I would earn working for an agency on a Friday and a Monday. So I'm just going to take this month by month. So so it's a good feeling. Did I think it may never happen? It's certainly crossed my mind once or twice. That's for certain. But some of you guys will have been with me from day one, and I went from literally blowing account after account after account to starting streaming on day one, and then I went 7 days past an evaluation, and I'm on I think it's day 15 or 16. I think it's day 16. So I've gone 16 days in a row, and I've managed to build a nice little lump sum in my account, and hopefully the plan is just to slowly build it up like this. Take $2,000 a month for 3 months, and then hopefully if I can build a nice account, then maybe to take on board some more accounts, maybe another 4, another 5, something like that. I think I might build it up nice and slowly and just keep adding to it. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for your congratulations. Yeah, it's a nice feeling. First milestone of many. Let's hope so. Let's hope so, mate. But yeah, it's a nice feeling. It does make you feel like the hard work is finally starting to pay off, and you're finally it's finally nice to start putting money back in the bank as opposed to keep taking it out, because it's been 2 years of money, to be honest with you. As most of you will probably know, we're all in the same boat. So that's the plan. Build it up nice and carefully. We're taking that $2,000 a month, and then as I build the account, I think the plan is, as you know, I've traded 2 contracts from day one. And what I think I probably do is take the account up to 15,000, and then go up another contract, and then every 5,000 another contract. That will give me plenty of a cushion there, big enough cushion to take it nice and steady. And I think the thing about building taking one contract is you have a period of time of getting used to that. Because obviously going from 2 contracts to 4 contracts and so on, it's that quite a bit of a jump. So it's nice to, take it up nice and steady and grow it nice and carefully and at a level where I feel comfortable and not sort of too much under pressure. So, morning, Jimmy. Belated Happy New Year. Yeah, I know it's going quick, isn't it? What is it, the 9th today? Unbelievable, isn't it? We're a third of the way into the month already. Did you take a withdrawal? I did. And I will show you. Let me just open my mail. I'll show you again. I'll show you the certificate. It's under archive. Let me have a quick look. Archive, here we go. Payout approval. There we go. Certificate of payment proudly presents payment of $2,000 approved on the 6th. So I apply for it, I think, the 1st. And I believe it'll be in the accounts I believe they pay on the 15th. Now, I think the 15th it falls on a Sunday. So whether it goes in on the Friday or whether it goes in on the Monday, either or, it doesn't really make a difference. But the fact that it's been approved and it's there and it's going to be in my account, and that gives me the ability then to cut back my agency work a couple of days a week, so I can trade then full time Monday to Friday, which was always the plan. And I'll still keep working Saturday and Sunday. That'll give me an income still coming in. Now the market is just opened, I'm assuming, by that couple of quick pushes down. So we've got an upward bias at the moment. Whether that'll continue up, I don't know, but stocks are up. Most indices and funds are up. Crypto's up. Everything seems to have a little bit of a solid upwards movement at the moment, which is always good. So that is a hidden second extra entry long. No, it hasn't set. Let me just get an order ready just in case. Whether we'll come back here or not, I don't know. But if I can get a nice bullish bar there, then I think I might. I kind of like that. Okay, I like that. Let's see if we can get up here a little bit. That is a hidden second entry long, big bullish bar. EMA still pointing upwards. I kind of like the look of that. I might take that a little bit higher and maybe follow it. We'll see. Let's see what happens. But what I tend to do is wait for it to hit these highs where I'm expecting it to go, and then jam my stop in. And then we see how we go. So this is a higher. Okay, let's play this by ear. It's quite a quick trade, this, jumping straight in. I'm just going to get another buy order in here in case we get a... no, I don't like those 2 bars. Let's get rid of that. Let's play this one at a time, I think. We need to get above here. Above this one here. Okay, I like that. Where's me stop? Where's me stop? Okay, I'm going to close that trade. I don't quite know what happened there. Where's my stop loss? Anybody see what happened there? I had my stop loss here. Oh, I don't quite know what happened. I'm going to have to look back on that one. I'm not sure what happened there because I seem to miss my stop. The stop seemed to disappear for some reason and I ended up hitting the close. I'm going to have to look back on that one later. So, yeah, not too. Quite a bit of a jump. I was expecting some upward movement. I think the trade was nice and solid. Hidden second entry long. I like the way it pushed nicely below the EMA and then strongly pushed back up, ending on one tick on its high. EMA was still facing upwards, so I think the trade was okay. Accidentally closed the stop instead of the order. I'm not sure what I did. I think I went to grab the stop and I don't quite know what happened. Anyway, I got, I think I got about 5 points out of that, I think. Sorry about that. Let's have a look. Excuse me a second. Sorry. Still full of a bit of still quite a lot of muck around in my chest. So 225, 325, 425. Yeah, 5 points on there. So that's a good positive start. Yeah, it's almost like it pushed up and I went to grab my stop to take it up and I couldn't find my stop, so I'm going to have a little look back there. You press the X on the... So, right, I got you. Okay. So, yeah, that would make sense. I went to grab it and I probably hit the X, didn't I, by accident? Okay, but it worked out okay anyway. I was going to stop it up here and I stopped it at a pretty good place, I think. When was it? Where did I stop here? Yeah, there we go. That's the beauty of having that now. If I wouldn't have had that up there, I'd have probably panicked a little bit. Or did I stop it? Yeah, I stopped it about a point from the top. So, although the trade was good, I'll have to just keep an eye on that and make sure I stay away from the crosses. So, excuse me. Okay, so that's a good start anyway. It's always nice to have a good start. They don't often come that quick. Okay, let's just put that there. Okay, so there's a little bit of an overshoot there. Beautiful higher low there. That one there, you got, I'm assuming, Brant, you got something a bit better than me, didn't you? I took that second entry long there, so to be honest with you, if that worked out any better, I've got no issues with taking two trades, but obviously that didn't end up fantastic, but it could have been a lot nicer on someone else's charts. And I have, on the odd occasion, taken another entry there and ride it up. If I think it's good enough, that I think was a great bar. Clear second entry long off the key entry point. We're moving up at the moment, but obviously that one, I did get another order up here ready just in case, because I think since I've started, I've only ever been in one trade where I'm in where I've had two entries, so I don't often do them unless they look particularly good. Obviously that one didn't at the time, so okay, so a quick bit of action there. It's not often you get them that quick. Okay, let's have a little look here. Sorry, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so I was expecting some sort of upward movement today because everything seems to be up at the moment. All the indices are up. Things like gold's up, oil's up, wheat's up, everything's up at the moment. Stocks are up, crypto's up, everything seems to have been having a nice little push. So I was kind of expecting something when I opened this, and we've clearly gone upward bias at the moment. Whether it'll last or not, who knows? It's hard to say, but we've had two pushes down, not quite equal. Perfect high low. It was almost certain to get in. I'm assuming you had a higher low. Is that what you mean there? What is it? So that was my first order. That was the higher low, but obviously it wasn't quite perfect for me. But I'm assuming you guys. It could have been a lot better. Okay, let me just pull this out of the way a minute. Let's put it where... Okay. Let's have a look. Your chart had a gap between... Yeah, is the gap here, was it? Because it did seem to be... there looked like there could be a gap there. It did jump really quickly. Is it lagging behind? My lag's quite low. Are you on about from what you see? Yeah, it will be. I believe it's around about somewhere between 8 and 15 seconds, something like that. I have a gap as well. Mind the gap. There's a gap here, isn't there? Is that what you mean? It's not on my chart, whether it is on yours. Where's the gap? Let me have a look. What's that here? Hidden second entry long there. Yeah. Hidden second entry long, because we had a push down and we did a little bit of sideways up and then another leg down, so a hidden second entry followed by a lovely big bearish bar, completely dwarf the other one, push right down. I like them when they push right down and finish just above there nicely, one tick off its high. So that for me was to run up to the highs at least. And what I tend to do is, you know, I take my profit up and I wait for it to hit the high and I jam my stop in. And if it does push a little bit higher, then I think I have mine set to 4 points. And 4 points is about here. Where did I come out? Let's have a look. Yeah, I came out. So that's 4 points. I came out at an extra a point and a quarter I got off that. Okay, so nice start. It's always nice to get a start like that if it happens. Excuse me, just a second. Okay. Okay, so we've had a little short-term trend channel down there. We've had a break in a new low. In fact, we've had 2 pushes down to a new low. I kind of like that sometimes. You always have a huge bull bear bar for your first candle. Most others seem to have a gap. Your prior day close, the day's open. Nice, yeah. Gap on the overnight. Where's the gap? I can't see. It's not on my chart, is it? Where's the gap? Somebody mentioned where the gap was. 3914, 3916. 3914, 3916. 3914 down here. Let's put that there. 14 and 16. Okay, so we've had a break and 2 pushes down to a new low. We've pushed above. Let's see what happens here. See if there's anything possible here. It certainly is. We've had that overshoot there, and we've had it on the other side. So this hasn't ticked below there. So just remove that a minute. We have a gap. You have a huge green bar. And about here. Yeah, I notice it does that sometimes. Sometimes it'll open there, have a big gap and shoot up. I don't quite... I'm assuming it's obviously got to be to do with the amount of time. I don't know. I mean, the lag's very low on mine. I don't know what it is on your chart. Or I'm assuming it's got something to do with the where you're placed in relation to the data coming from the servers. That's... I mean, I don't know much about the technical side of it, but I'm just guessing it's got to be something like that. Okay, that is a hidden second entry short. If it finishes, now I'm kind of hoping that ticks below there because there may be some shorts there. I'm going to say I want to keep away from that bit really because it's see if this ends up bullish. Yeah, it's probably going to push higher. I just don't like those. Let's see what happens here. It's quite a big old bar as well, isn't it? There's probably going to be some shorts trapped there, depending on how it is. Yeah, there's something about that I don't like. Not sure about this area here, although the EMA is starting to move up. It's probably going to push back up, but there's just something about this making me a little bit nervous. Yeah, kind of glad. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have taken that anyway because it's just a little bit too. But see how that is. I mean, it's a higher low, isn't it? That may have finished a little bit more bearish on some, bullish on some chunk. Let's see where it's just ticked up there, come back down and stopped out. So it's seems to be when you get areas like this. So this is just sitting on your hands at the minute. Oh, look. I don't know if anybody saw on the Apex site about that trader that withdrew $800,000 by any chance. Anybody see that? Maybe 6 months ago I'd have been very skeptical about that, but I kind of believe it now. Because I know how many accounts you can have. And I mean, if I'd made that $500, say there, if I might have got 10 accounts, that's $5,000 I'd have just put in my account. That's just on 10 accounts. So imagine doing that a day, $5,000 a day, 10 days, 50. That's $100,000 in a calendar month, isn't it? That's just from trading 2 contracts on 10 accounts. So I can kind of get that genuinely happy. You've seen it, Vince, isn't it? Yeah. I got to say, the guy looks absolutely steely-eyed, doesn't he? He looks like he's got laser beams coming out of his eyes. He's obviously, whether he's actually that calm or he's in shock, I don't know. But he has 23. I never quite understood the reasoning behind $300,000 accounts, because you got to make $20,000. Excuse me, just a second. Sorry about that. You've got to make $20,000 profit on each of those, and you've only got a $7,500 drawdown. So my account, the $50,000 account, I got a $2,500 drawdown, and I trade 2 contracts. And a lot of people think that's too much. So let's say he's got that drawdown times 3. So let's say he's trading 6 contracts. If I made $3,000 in 7 days, he'd be making $9,000. So effectively, it's going to take a lot longer for him to hit those targets. Now, the only other answer to trading $300,000 account is you can trade way more contracts. But what people tend to do is trade less contracts and more accounts. So why, if you're trading 20 contracts, would you feel the need to be able to trade more than 10 contracts on a $50,000 account? Yeah, Jacko, I did look at that, mate. The only thing that made me a bit nervous is we'd had this little bit and we'd already had one trap, so I thought, just let it go for the time being. But you see what I mean? If I can trade, if I just made $500 there, if I can trade 10 contracts on this, that'd be 5 times, that'd be $2,500. 10 accounts. That's $25,000 in one trade. So I don't quite know why people go for the $300,000 account, but it is, that's just my personal view. Obviously, other people, but it's going to take you a lot longer to build an account, a lot longer to pass an evaluation. Listen, there's something else I wanted to talk to people about as well. Is I put a post on one of the Facebook sites, I think yesterday. And what I basically said is that I've got Apex Trade Copier, and if you were to give me one piece of advice on any issues you may have it, what would it be? Because I thought what I wanted to do after the disaster using it the other day, I wanted to learn a bit more about it first and get a little bit more confidence with it before I decided to maybe think about another valuation. And one guy made a comment. He said that it's possible for one of the copied accounts to trigger and not the actual lead account. And that would lead in a trade without a stop or a take profit level. So I don't know if anybody has come across that or had any issues with that. Whether it happens rarely or not, I don't know. But if I sort of, let's say, for instance, I had this pay account as my lead account and I had 10 more accounts and I got into a trade, it's possible that one of the copied accounts can trigger, but not the PA account or not the lead account, which apparently so he said, would lead in you not having a stop loss, and I'm assuming not a take profit level. And that just made me a little bit nervous, so I just wanted to have a chat with you guys about it and just to see if you had any thoughts on it. Because obviously if you've got 20 accounts, like that guy has, there's a lot of money potentially on there. And if something happened when you didn't have a stop on it, it could be quite costly. So it's never happened to you. I've been using it for a month now. Well, that's what I wanted to know. Just some of your guys' thoughts on it. Hey, Sam, how you doing? Didn't see you there, mate. Sorry. What did I withdraw? Yeah, I showed that, didn't I? Yeah. Sorry, bud. Yeah, sorry, Sam, I didn't see you there, mate. So, excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Let me just turn my ringer down a minute. So yeah, it just made me a little bit nervous, that. But I don't think it's, you've had quite a few issues with trade. Yeah, it makes you a bit nervous, doesn't it? I mean, that guy, that Vince who traded 20 accounts, he's got some serious money in those accounts if he's just taken out over $750,000 in 1 month. So it obviously works, but I think I think it's a case of you're just going to have to put up with any little niggles they might have. So obviously you're going to have your positions tab open, ready to right click and get rid of anything. But I suppose the beauty is if some of your trades trigger but some don't, as you right click, it's possible the trade could have gone up and you might make more money out of it, or it's possible to come down and you may make less money out of it. Either way, I think it's, because I just assumed you would likely lose if you couldn't shut your trades down when it hit stop loss, but that's if it come down, but it could go up just as easy. So I don't think it's a major problem, is it? I think it swings and roundabouts. Sometimes it may go up a bit and you might get a bit of lucky. Other times it might come down and you might not be so lucky, but I think it's probably a 50-50 that you might make and you might not. Can happen if your stop limit order, you try to move it to the current price. Price may be too high or low for your lead account. Your slave accounts maybe get filled. Yeah, I've seen Daryl Martin make 600. Oh, crikey. Another day and I've seen him lose 200. Yeah. I think it's just a bit swings and roundabouts, isn't it? So, it might be good once and it might not be good. So I think it's probably a fair... Well, it's the only option, isn't it? I don't think that's necessarily down to the trade copier software itself. It's just, I think that's just purely down to the markets. You've got to just work the best way you can with the markets. If it goes in your favour a touch, great. If it doesn't, that's just one of those things. But I just wanted to try and learn as much as I could about the trade copy before I started to put it into play. But what I might do one afternoon is just maybe open another sim and then just put one sim as my leader and just another sim as a copy and leave the PA alone and just play around with the sims and just get a feel for things and see what happens rather than do it with real for money. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of get a little bit of confidence with it because obviously I had that hiccup with not realising there was two open at the same time. And I ended up blowing a couple of accounts, but fortunately they were only evals and I'd only paid $15 from each. So if I'd have paid full price for them or even $80 each, I'd have been a little bit peed off about it. But at least it's a lesson I'm not going to forget in a hurry. Look, I'm always using copy trader. I don't have any issues. Yeah, I think the issues that are out there are few and far between. I don't think they often happen by the sounds of things. Most people, I think if they were a day-to-day part, I think people would lose faith in it and it wouldn't sell. And I don't think people would use it. So I think they're just probably just the odd little issue. But I think if you're aware that it can happen, you have your positions tab open, it's just a quick right click and a close to get out of it, which is not the end of the world, I don't think. Let's remove that one. So I think generally from what I can gather about gaps, markets come down and fill them, but I haven't got a gap, so perhaps it's not going to come down. So perhaps that blows the gap theory out the window, it's hard to say. I mentioned earlier I had one account triggered long and the other account triggered short. Lost the account. Yeah, now that's a bit unnerving, that is. One long. See, I'm assuming you only had a long order ready or a short order ready. I don't quite see how that would trigger a long and a short. I didn't notice one didn't close. I didn't notice one didn't close after the one I meant. Oh, okay, so you had two orders up at the same time. I got you. Buy from Replicanto, not from Apex Trader. Too late. Yeah, I suppose it's a possibility at a later stage, isn't it? I'll see how I get on with it. But I think what I'm probably going to do is I've got one account is maybe next month if we get an offer, I might pick 4 more evaluations up. I don't want to grow too quickly. I'd rather get a little bit of experience with smaller numbers first when they're on offer rather than jump into 10 or 20. I think it's a large amount if you've never really used it before. Can we do hedging in Apex long or short? Can we? I don't believe we can. I've certainly not heard of it or tried it. Possibly, I don't know. You possibly can. I don't quite know. Austin, just finished my 50k evaluation. Yeah. Congratulations, mate. Is it the first one you've done, is it? It's kind of exciting when you pass your first one, isn't it? My first one lasted about an hour, I think. What I will say is when you get your first one, if it is your first one, take your time, give yourself some breathing space. Because I got mine, I think, late in the afternoon. I did mine with Earn to Trade. Now, the thing I like about Apex is when you get your email, which is usually pretty quick, a few hours after the market opens, you can sign up to it, pay your fees, and you're up and trading literally in less than 10 minutes. Whereas with Earn to Trade, it took me about 48 hours. And I was, as you can imagine, 48 hours later, I was absolutely busting to get on there and trade. And I think I got my account running about an hour and a half before the market closed. And it was on a Friday, and I was so eager to make some money, I just jumped in and took a bad trade. And then I took another bad trade, which just put me in a bad place over the weekend. And I think Monday I just ended up blowing it, doing something stupid. So yeah, so if I can give you a little bit of advice, just take your time, give yourself space to breathe and get used to it, because it is a different level. That's the possibility of making money now, see, so that adds a little bit of level of pressure. So give yourself some breathing space, take some time and just wait for good trades. And if you do that, I think you should be okay. So good luck. Yeah, but if you get yourself into a mess and you lose a couple of trades, get away from the computer, give yourself some breathing space, okay? And then come back when you're clear of mind. And I'm speaking on behalf of experience. And I can show you that I'm incredibly experienced when it comes to blowing accounts. And I'll show you. This is what you call a very experienced account blower. There you go. There's all my blown accounts. Okay. 73 Apex blown accounts. 8, this is the 9th, 8 Apex evaluation blown accounts. So that's 73 plus 8. So there's 81. There's a UProfit, a couple from UProfit, 2 of my own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 e-profit blown accounts. Earn to trade, there's 3 of them, so that's an awful lot there. So I'd say there's probably going to be 100 or nearly 100 there. And that's a lot. I've heard of someone with over 200, but that's what you call an experienced trade blower. Okay, so if I can give you some advice, listen to it and just take your time and just try and really take it seriously. And you know what I mean? But if you've got any problems and things you find it a bit hard, or the psychology's got older, you walk away, take a break, and breathe. Because it's exciting, but it can be a little bit scary as well, okay? And you want to try and, especially now, it's never been any easier now to make money with Apex, because you only got to trade for 10 days. So it's just a nicer feeling. So whereas you got to trade for 25 days, which is actually 5 full weeks. Now, most of us haven't got the luxury of being able to trade full time. So that extends that period to maybe 6 or 7 or 8 weeks. And then they only used to have one payment date. So if you completed that at the end of the month, you'd have to then wait another 4 weeks. So you could be waiting months. But the beauty is now there's 2 payment days and you've only got to trade for 10 days to actually make some money. So it's a lot more attractive now. So, take your time, enjoy the experience. Don't be too hard on yourself. And just, try and enjoy it. Let's have a look what we missed. We're at the top. I don't think I'm interested in taking anything quite at the top, really, especially after we had this overshoot. I want to give it a little bit of space to come down. So let's have a look. Let's have a little look. Wow, you're not wrong, John. I'm human like the rest of you, and I've just luckily got to a point where I'm starting to find it easier. And just give me a second. Let me just have a bit of a cough. Excuse me. I'm starting to get to the level now where I believe I've moved up to the next couple of runs of the ladder where I've got the skills to make money, and I'm now hitting the level where the psychological side isn't having as strong as an impact as it used to do. Now, I'll put my change down to, I'd say 90% down to streaming live. That's helped me, so I've got some accountability. There's people watching me, so I'm a lot less likely to do something stupid. So that, I'd say, is equated to 90, maybe even 95% of my moving forward. But I did start to feel like the losses and the blown accounts weren't as affecting me as they were, because I went through stages where I felt like I got a massive big knot in my stomach and I just felt horrible. And I was chucking away accounts like you wouldn't believe. I was almost gambling. I was that angry with the market. I was just throwing money at it. And I think it's pretty common. A lot of people do that. So my experience and my opinion, it's a process you just have to go through. There's no easy way around it, I don't think. Yeah, some people get it quicker than others. Some people are a lot more in control of their emotion than others. I certainly wasn't. I was a gibbering mess from time to time. So some find it easier, some find it harder. I found it hard because I can be quite stubborn sometimes, and I can be pig-headed, and sometimes it just takes a bit of time for it to get through my thick head sometimes. So, but I think one of the valuable things I learned and recently was not to be too hard on yourself, because you are human and we make human mistakes, and to beat yourself up constantly, I think you've got to give yourself a bit of time. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be trading and making themselves a fortune. So, enjoy it and take your time. Just keep sticking at it, keep plugging away and keep pushing forward, and you'll get where you want to be. So good luck, Austin. Look, I reckon I've blown more accounts. So you've got some, It's kind of a nice feeling that you're finally starting to pull a little bit back. But blown accounts is all part and parcel of it. It's part of the game. It's part of the human side of you, and you can't avoid that. And it's the only way you learn. You have to expose yourself to risk. Otherwise, you're never going to experience what it's like. And unfortunately, exposing yourself to risk means exposing yourself to risking money. And there's no way around that. There's no quick fix. There's no easy way in. And that's just sort of the way it is. There we got it. King Priest. You're catching up with me, are you? I've given you a target now to beat. There you go. See if you can beat mine. I'd say there's probably maybe a couple short, maybe a couple short of 100. I haven't counted them, but I'd say it's certainly well in the 90s there. Yeah, a lot of people say it's a hard way to make money. I don't know. It's I don't know. I'd rather be doing this job than a lot of other jobs. When I look at sort of doctors and nurses and people in the security services in the military, I think that's a tough way to earn a living. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. It can be. Sometimes you think there's easy money, but I'll tell you something now. You try doing what that lad did and earning 800 grand in 1 month. That is serious money. And you could be, I mean, even politicians in the UK and don't earn that. I think the Prime Minister earns about 240,000 a year. Obviously, he makes money from business, but you've got to be a pretty shrewd businessman and had a lot of experience to make $800,000 in a month. You know, that's serious money. But that's the sort of money you can earn trading. You know, if you're willing to stick at it, put the hours in, and keep trying. You know, there's no reason why there aren't lots of others going to earn that sort of money. You know, it's just, but it's nice to have that little dream, isn't it? It's nice to see those figures because you think, wow, people really can do that, and they absolutely can. So, you know, for me, I'd say keep your dreams alive, keep dreaming. It's your dreams that keep you trying. I've always been a bit of a dreamer, and that's what just keeps me motivated and keeps me pushing. You've passed 2 PAs coming at the end of the week. Excellent. Good on you, Jimmy. It is nice when you get PAs. It's never nicer now. You've got the option now to pay the one-off fee, which I think on a $50,000 account, I think it's about $140 as opposed to $85 per month. So it's kind of a nice option, that. So you pay a one-off fee, and the beauty is then you can take your time. You haven't got that pressure to try and make money to continue to pay your monthly fee. You can take your time. That 800,000 was about 4 months. It was just, well, I heard he'd withdrawn 800,000 a month, but he'd made over $1 million or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, over 4 months, if you get $800,000 over 4 months, that's over $2 million a year. I mean, that's serious money. There's not a lot in life you can't do with $2 million a year. And if you can make that, you can make more. It's just a matter of scaling up. So, I mean, if the fact that you can make $800,000 in 4 months, well, obviously, you're clearly a skilled trader. There's no denying that. I bet there isn't a lot of traders in these big hedge funds earning anywhere near that. Anyone pay through deal? Wondering how long it takes. As soon as I know, I'll let you know. I believe it's quick. I believe they pay it into your deal account, and I believe you can withdraw it out within the day. I'm sure someone said you can get it in your account really quickly. So just, I don't know whether you know, Jimmy, I know you're UK. I've got a Revolut account. It's just one of those online banks. And I've got the Revolut metal one. It's actually a metal. It's a metal card. It's a gold colour card. And it cost me £12.99 a month. And the beauty about the metal is you can have unlimited currency exchange at market rates with no fees. Because if you withdraw it from deal straight into a UK bank account, I believe my bank, Barclays, charged me 2.99%, which is basically 3%. So on $2,000, they charged me, what is that, about 60, let's have a look, $2,000. 10% is 200 and 1% is 20. They'll charge me £60 just to convert that over. And that's only on $2,000. You can imagine earning $20,000, them charge you £600. That's ridiculous. Whereas if you sign up to a Revolut account and I think you get on the standard accounts, I think you can do about $1,000 without any fees. But if you do the Steel, the Steel account, the $12.99 account, you can have unlimited currency exchange at market rates, so no fees. But it has to be between Mondays and Fridays. If it's weekend, I think you pay 1%. So from any UK traders, I'm not sure. I can't vouch for what it's like for you guys, because you get paid in dollars. I believe it just goes straight into your account. There's obviously no conversion rate if you're if you're living with dollars. But I withdraw dollars from my deal account into my Revolut account and then just exchange the dollars for British pounds at no fees. So that's a good option and a good deal, that is, certainly for UK traders. And transfer it from there. Yeah, just go into your deal account, and then transfer it from there. Let me see. Let me just get into my deal accounts. I've got it here somewhere. Yeah. So look. In fact, I'll check my deal. I haven't checked it today. I'm assuming it's going to go in the end of the week. No, there's nothing in my deal account yet. Pretty sure they count that as the same instrument. Yes. Not over the Revolut Steel. They do. I think they do a basic. You've heard of Revolut, Jimmy, haven't you? I know they're backed by the $80,000 protection thing we have in the UK. Is it the financial conduct and something protections, something like that? Yeah, just go online, and in fact, me and my wife both have a Monzo account, which is another online bank. But if you're paid in dollars and you're UK based, the Revolut's by far the best account. So just go on the Revolut site and look at what you get with the $12.99. But it's unlimited foreign exchange. Foreign exchange. You get lots of other deals with it, but I mean, even that will save me. I mean, if I'm paying $60 for £60 for my bank, they cost me nothing. It cost me $12.99 a month, so it more than covers for it. So there is a second entry long there, but I don't like the way it's right at the top of this. See if. I mean, it's just we're at the high of the day, aren't we? So we're at the high of the week, I think. Something like that. Yeah, I'm just not probably going to go up, but so I've been chatting and not concentrating. It is a second entry long, and yeah, it's going to make something. Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah, I've not really been paying much attention there, I think. Let me just remove this a minute. Yeah. I don't know, something doesn't look right there. It's probably, I mean, it's by the by anyway. Whether it's there or there, we've had a break out of it. So, okay, excuse me a second. Okay, maybe it's that. I don't know. It might be slightly wider, possibly, but point is we're out of it now anyway. We've sort of, even if we've had a break here, we've had a couple of pushes up. Trying to go once, trying to go twice. See what happens here. We're at the top of this. I mean, it probably extend a bit at some point anyway, maybe. Let's leave it there for now. Respected nicely here, and then we had that little overshoot and break here. But it is giving us that impression. Yeah, it's a bit choppy. It is getting the impression we're maybe making some upward moves today. Whether it continues or not, I don't know. But everything is up at the moment. Stocks are up. Most commodities are up. I think the Nasdaq's up, Russell's up, S&P's up. Everything's up at the moment. Possibly. I'm not sure US economy wise, but I believe in the UK inflation's coming down quite quickly. It's been up around 10-11%. I heard, I think it was on Bloomberg this morning, that I'd heard that it may be coming down to 5% pretty quickly. I don't know. So whether that's having any sort of impact, I'm not sure about the US. I think tomorrow, there's some CPI news coming out tomorrow, and that'll give us an idea what inflation's like in the US. But I think things are positive. We had some positive news in the week, which seemed to trigger a little bit of a push. I'm going to stay away from this at the moment, but we've got some the CPI data coming out tomorrow, so that'll give us an idea about the US economy. I can't really comment on that just at the moment. You've used Revolut, yeah. $12.99 a month. It's just you'll get about, what is it? You'll get 5 months worth. You'll save 5 months of your fees in your bank. You'll cover the first $12.99 for the first 5 months of fees compared to what your bank. So it's a good deal, and it's metal. I got to say, I'm quite getting into these metal cards. I got a ruby steel one, which has some cryptocurrency. I've got locked in with crypto.com, and it's a red steel card, and I get 2% on all purchases. They've stopped it now, but I managed to sign up and lock some more money in before they started. So I pay everything on mine, bills, food, everything, and make 2%. And the 2%'s paid in the crypto.com's native card 0, or whatever it's changed to now. But I do like the steel cards. I've got to say, the plastic cards in your wallet just bend and split, and you've got to replace them all the time. But the steel ones, man, I've taken so much ice off my window with mine. They're a great card. They don't bend. They're solid, slightly heavier, but they're just so much better made. And obviously, less plastics in the world, always a good thing. So yeah, if you're a UK-based trader, I would definitely get one if you're withdrawing or starting to withdraw. The same. You got a measured move, have you? From, let's have a look. You're about from there. Yeah. Is that what you're about from? Yours must be slightly different than mine. Let's have a look. Assuming you've got it there, haven't you? Or there. You got it there. It should be there, really, shouldn't it? Should be from there. Or have you got it from there? Certainly pushing higher, isn't it? Trouble is, always a little bit wary getting into it here, because sometimes we do a bit of it sideways before we have another push up. We now have the same lowish. You got the gap, haven't you? Yeah, you got the gap. Yeah. I don't know whether Marco's got the same on his, has he? Let's have a look. No, Marco usually puts a chart up and he hasn't yet. Oh, Fred has, I think. Yeah, Fred's got a... Yeah, so yours basically starts here, doesn't it? Yeah, that would make sense. So one's assuming then the market opened here, the data hit my screen maybe, I don't know, a few milliseconds before it hit your guy's screen. Now, I always thought in the UK we were always behind internet-wise. What do I get? An average, I think I get an average of 65 gigabytes a second, 65 megabits a second here. I have mine, I don't use Wi-Fi, I have mine wired directly to the router. So that's my download speed of about 65 megabits per second. Thereabouts anyway. I think I'm guaranteed over 50, which I didn't think was huge, to be honest with you. You'd expect probably a lot of the US, you tend to be a lot bigger and quicker. You've got the same, yeah. So he's jumped up. So I'm assuming the data hit my charts before you, I think, doesn't it? Must have been. So you've started up here, don't you? That's the only thing I can think of. Check your instrument hour. Time plate is correct. How do I do that? Are you on about in the data series? You're on about here. Trading hours. That's what I've got there. Excuse me a second. Does that look okay to you? CME US Index Futures, ETH. I think that's what Max is set at, I believe. That's the wrong template. When I started streaming on here, someone said I got that wrong. So which should it be then? And I just want a couple of you at least to confirm this before I change it. ETH is correct. Yeah, because I changed it, didn't I, about a few weeks ago when I started for our strategy. Right, okay. The strategy might be slightly different. That's probably why. Okay, so I haven't changed that, right? No, I haven't changed that. Yeah, I'm just assuming you're trading the same system as us. Perhaps you're not. Would anyone take a second? It's really long here. So that was a failure, wasn't it? Just because it's a little bit sideways here, I'm a little bit. I mean, we've clearly got upward bias, but whether that will continue, it's hard to say. Well, certainly the top of here anyway, that's where I'd be less likely to take it. I prefer it to come around about here, or maybe even have maybe a move down. Mac has used instrument setting. Mac has used instrument setting. I'm not sure what you mean there. Not sure what you mean. ETH before, I don't watch his videos much. I think Brand, even on his videos, does it actually show you? I think it does it without him clicking his opening up his data? It's hard to say. In fact, I might mention it on the Facebook site and ask people like Daniel and Marco, see what they got theirs set to. Whether it's just that, I might take a screenshot of that later and just pop it on. The default is ETH, which it is, isn't it? So I think everything's right. Scaring me now. Okay, so I have opened that up a little bit. We're clearly moving up there. So let's zoom in a little bit and see if we can see an opportunity of some sort. Let's have a look. Getting a little bit sideways here. Let's see what happens. No need to change that. You're profitable. Yes. Don't fix what isn't broken, I suppose, is the answer, isn't it? I just hope to God it's not that's making me successful. And not me thinking I know what I'm doing. No, I think it's okay. Everything's working okay, I think. You just trade your chart as you see it anyway, I think. What's your biggest hurdle has been in your trading journey so far? Me? Getting past blowing accounts, I think. The psychological side, and I think that's probably the same for everybody, I would have said. Learning the strategy and trying to, learning to figure out what the markets are doing and learning the rules, I think it's just learning something, isn't it, really? I think everyone can sort of learn that. It's the psychological side, the effect that things like losses have and keeping your patience. But I'd say in fact, it's probably all patience, actually, because if I've got the patience to take a good trade, if I take a second entry long right off the bottom here and I believe it to be a good trade and it fails, I don't find those terribly hard to deal with. But if I take a long here and I think the signal bar isn't great and it's a bit congested, if I take that and it fails, they're the ones that mess with my head, because I know that in the back of my mind I should have left it alone. So I'd say the biggest hurdles have been patience. Probably patience, actually, because if I had patience, I wouldn't have the issue with. But it's definitely psychology and patience, and I think that's probably the same for most, actually, from what I've read. But yeah, hurdle wise, see, if you learn to read the markets and learn the strategy well and can spot good trades, if you can master that patience and calmly sit down there, you should get very limited hurdles, I think. But obviously that's the tough bit, isn't it? So I'd say, yeah, it's probably patience. Did you have patience? Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. See, I'm quite a wired person. I am. I think quick. I work quick. I talk quick. You'll know I don't shut up. I can yabber on. So I'm quite a wired person. I'm not a very calm, relaxed sort of type of person, which is why I think this type of strategy, this type of trading works. Because if I start trading hourly or 4 hourly charts, I they just don't seem to stimulate me, and these tend to work better for me. And I think from what I've read, when people trade, they then tend to veer to one type of trading. Some people are very calm, methodical thinkers, and they may suit, swing traders or long-term position traders, people who are very methodical and very controlled. So it depends on your personality, I think. But, having sort of quite a wide nature, I have found patience pretty difficult. I like to get in there and get the job done and get out. Well, that's all good and well, and that's what you need to do with trading, but obviously you've got to have the patience to do that, and that's probably been my biggest hurdle. Lack of patience. I just want everything yesterday. That's the trouble. And once you start thinking about trading and money, that can upset the equilibrium, and you can just screw up. So yeah, that's probably my biggest hurdle. I'd say patience. Got a problem with forcing trades, especially. That's patience, exactly what it is. You're here and you think you're that eager to make money, and you see this move and you think, oh, look at all that, I missed it. And you see something that's half good and you jump in. Something sort of takes over, and you jump in, and you lose the trade. You just, the only way it works is if you sit and wait for a trade. Now, markets can move quick from time to time, and you have to think quick. But the longer you've been doing it, you'll spot those trades a lot quicker. You won't have to count. You'll just, even a second entry long, that's not a trade as in a typical count of it. That's more of a quick picture that you see in your head. But the more you do it, the more you'll spot those a lot quicker, and you'll be able to operate quicker. But yeah, it is hard to not force trades. I've been guilty of that myself many times. But it's a process, and it's a process you'll go through, and it's a process you'll just get better and better at. There's no easy way to become a trader. You've just got to go through it. And that's where it sort of separates the men from the boys, really. The people who keep coming back. You can, when you've been trading a while, you can see why a lot of people give up, because, for times it seems so bloody, sometimes I feel like I'm figured the market out and I know what's going on, and then it'll throw you a curveball, it'll go chop and bounce all over the place. You'll take a couple of trades and you'll get mashed. And you're thinking, well, yesterday and last week, I felt I knew what was going on. So it is a process you just have to go through. So you've just got to keep getting up in the mornings and keep trying, and every day you'll learn a bit more and you'll get a bit more experience. And it's like learning any other type of job, which takes time. You jump onto you go to college and you become a bricklayer, something I did when I was younger. You can't just jump straight into building houses. You're going to mess up a couple of 100 walls first, and they're going to be wobbly, and they're not going to be straight, and they're not going to be level. But if you keep persisting and keep trying, they'll get better and better, and your walls will get straighter. And before you know it, a few years down the line, you're building houses. And that's the same with trading, the same with any jobs. It takes time. The unfortunate thing about trading compared to being, say, a bricklayer is you've got that added psychological pressure. You don't have to worry about being a bricklayer. You're going to get paid at the end of the week, but that's the beauty of trading, You've got that added psychological side, which has got a tendency to mess with your head. During the last year. For the simple reason, Keto, is everyone goes through the same things. So just remember, you're not on your own. And when you screw up, don't be hard on yourself. It is hard. It's meant to be hard. If it was easy, everyone would be making a fortune at it. People would be buying a computer. Excuse me. Excuse me. You just have a sip of coffee. Yeah, it's not easy. There was many times where I thought about giving it up. But luckily, I think I'm one of those lucky people who can take knockback after knockback after knockback, and I can process it and I can come back with enthusiasm. So I'm lucky in that sense. But I can understand why people give it up. I can clearly understand why people give it up, because at times I have to ask myself, am I really going to be able to do this? Is this really doable, or am I just not the type of person that can do it? I doubted myself plenty of times, but luckily I had that sort of ability to just keep coming back. And I think if you can do that, and you've got to have belief in yourself as well. You've got to believe you can do it. And I think if you just keep coming back, at some point, you're going to start to get some success. Yeah, there's a double trap there. There's a higher low, to be fair. I mean, it's a tick off being a perfect bar anyway. And at the moment, it's probably likely going to go up, but that has triggered. That short, or that second entry short hasn't triggered on my chart. It might have done on someone else's, but I think it's likely we're going to go up anyway. We've certainly gone upward bias, and we're at the bottom section of the this range. But it is possible that it could come back to here as well before it goes up, or it will come back to here and drop down. So, but yeah, Keto, just don't give up, mate. If it's something you're passionate about, Just don't give up. Just keep trying. If you're finding it hard, too hard sometimes, take a break. A break does you the world. You know, for the first sort of year, I never took a day off. Over a year, I just didn't take a day off. I had bad days, and then I just come back in the next day for more punishment. Until I took a couple of weeks off, and that made a big difference. I come back with a lot clearer perspective. And so, yeah, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to take a break, because you definitely need it. Click the break at end of day. Everything's working okay at the moment. No disrespect to you, bud. I appreciate your comment, but I don't want to change anything just yet. What I'd rather do is screenshot that and then just ask some of the experienced guys on the group before I change anything, really. So I appreciate the comment, but I'm just going to sort of leave things at the moment, and then I'll ask the question later. We'll take it from there anyway. Valentino, I recognise that name. You've been here before, haven't you? You are. Where are you from? Are you from Spain? Remind me, or are you from Italy? You've mentioned this before, haven't you? Last week I was thinking of starting painting the cars instead. Yeah, leading back to your question earlier, forcing trades is hard. Everyone does that at some point. We all do it. It's a process you've just got to go through. But you'll obviously read a lot about psychology. I've read loads of books. I've gone to bed night after night with hypnosis CDs playing on me phone. All sorts of. I've listened to some of these wavelengths that make these weird vibrating noises that you go to sleep playing. I've done some weird stuff. Texas, I do apologise. Texas, but you're from Spain initially. Is that right? No, I can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry. Yeah, I've tried all sorts of psychology side. I even considered hiring a big guy to sit next to me with a hammer. So if I jumped in the trade, he could give me a friend of mine. He said he'd do that for free. Said if I jumped into a trade, he'd give me a whack on the knuckles. So I've had all sorts of weird and wonderful thoughts of trying to make it work. I even got my wife here one day. Got her a chair, sat next to me, promised I'd make her cups of teas all day, and trouble is, she doesn't know what I was doing, so I was taking revenge trades, and she didn't have a clue what I was doing. So, I genuinely believe I've got the answer to the psychological problem, and I don't think it's complicated. I think it's as simple as it takes time. I don't think it's any more complicated than that. Anything in life that you go through a period of your time where you've got lots of emotions, whatever it may be, the only way really things change is time. So I don't think it's any more complicated than that. An extra hot sauce, absolutely. Yeah, what you could say to yourself, say to your wife, is to squeeze hot chili sauce in your eye if you blow another account. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. I bet people have tried all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. Trouble is, it's always when you're on your own, you're in a little room on your own, no one knows what you're doing, no one's watching you, and you lose a trade. You get frustrated. What do? You just jump in. And when I say you jump in, you just jump in. Forget right-clicking and setting up orders. I just used to use the buy and sell buttons, and I'd just click them randomly. If the market was going up, even if it was here, I'd just click buy, and I'd scrappily try and get 2 or 3 ticks. And if it started coming down, I'd just quick sell. I'd just randomly do this. And I would say 1 time out of 10, you'd pass an evaluation by doing that, but the other 9, you'd blow accounts. But I got to a point when I was that angry and that frustrated and knotted up inside. I blew 6 accounts. Luckily, they were 80% off in one day. In fact, probably in a space of probably an hour or two, just by because I was that frustrated and angry. I felt like I was losing control. I was just randomly hitting buttons. Yeah. Can you make a lot of money in trading? Absolutely, yeah, but it's not easy and it takes time. But yeah, I mean, if you stopped, I don't know, 100 people on the street and said, do traders earn a lot of money? I think probably the majority of people would say, yeah, absolutely, because it's deemed that people trade markets. They have fancy cars and big houses and amazing holidays and that. But I don't think it's a lot of traders that do that. I watched a documentary by a guy called Anton Creel. And Anton Creel's a British trader, and he's worked for some big investment banks in the UK. And he did a talk that I watched about traders, people getting into trading and investing, and people thinking they're going to earn huge amounts of money, and they really don't. Working for companies, they don't. It was surprising, young traders starting off were on about 25,000, 30,000 a year, and people tend to think you work for an investment bank, you make a ton of money. Well, maybe if you've been there, a lot of years and you're very good at what you do, but young traders that get in there in a few years, they don't earn a lot of money. Obviously, now things are different. You've got the ability to, use your skills that you might pick up with a firm to trade your own account. But, I bet there's a lot of traders out earning $800,000 in a month, like that guy earns, or even in 4 months. I bet there's very few and far between earning that sort of money. But, if you're doing this, I think and you're working with someone like Apex and you're getting some success and you're building up accounts, I think you're certainly on the road to making some good money. I'm not rushing things, but in 6 months, do I think I'm going to be earning more money than $2,000 a month? Absolutely. In 2 years, do I think I'm going to be earning some good money? Absolutely. But, I'm planning on building that up nicely. My next target is 10,000, then 15,000, and just nice little bite-sized chunks. And then I'll slowly then, when I get to 15,000, go from 2 contracts to 3 contracts and so on, and just build it up slowly. And then once I start to take a bit more money, then I'll start adding some more accounts and build those up slowly and just a few at a time. And, traders at real prop firms, private money firms that are making a lot of money. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But you work for these big hedge funds, there's probably, in fact, I remember that Anton Creel saying there's probably a few thousand people going for these jobs, and they're on quite poor salaries. Maybe when they've been with a company 5 or 7 years and they're then maybe things are different, but not very well paid, unlike what people think. Do you know what, Jimmy? It's not just me and you, mate. I think everybody experiences the same thing, because I know sometimes where I've read or I've listened to other traders discussing it, sometimes they'll just discuss it more on your wavelength. So, you'll just... That's why I watch so much, because I want to hear traders saying they've found it hard, because when traders say they found it hard and they're making... Like watching that Vince the other day, he called himself the king of resets. Now, you didn't take a genius to know what that means. He probably took lots and lots of evaluations and did many, many resets. I don't doubt that for a second. But it just goes to show, just because you're failing them now doesn't mean you're going to continue to do it. It's just a process that you're going through. Unfortunately, if you're failing them day after day, you're in that really horrible, horrible feeling stage of it. But just because I'm building an account now doesn't mean the psychological side's gone away. It's less because I'm taking better trades. But I went from having 18 green days in a row and feeling on top of the world to having 3 red days in a row. And after that first red day, a lot of you, if you listen back to my video on probably the second or third losing trade, I started to sound like a bit of a gibbering idiot. You could hear my voice. I was really nervous and I was pretty worried and concerned, because I thought I'd have 18 days. I thought there's no way I can fail now. It's just going to get easier. Well, sometimes you get a reality check and you're still going to take a step back from time to time. I'd sort of learnt and had lots of experience of dealing with those blown accounts, but I hadn't really experienced losing money from an account that you built. So that was another type of an experience, and I kind of didn't like it. I didn't like it at all, but I had to just get on with it. And then fortunately, I had another day with green and then another decent day green, so then that lifts your mood back up again. So I think the point I'm trying to make is, even though you have great green days and you build the account up, you're still from time to time, you're going to lose money. You're going to have a red day, and it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable initially. But I think, as in, when you sort of do that many times and then you still get paid at the end of every month, then that becomes less and less of a worry, and it's all part of the journey. Thomas Wade say that when he has losses now, they don't bother him so much, but they used to. So that is a second entry long there. I don't know. I'm gonna leave this one alone. I think if I wasn't up, I'd probably take it. But just the fact that I prefer that body a little bit lower down, and we've just come off these highs, so it is possible we could have two legs down. I think it's likely going to make it, but it's just the way it's just a little bit further off. We've come right away from it, and we've come back to it. When we do come back to it, sometimes I unless that body is tight to that, I like to come back to it twice. And as I've said before, when I'm up, I tend to go a little bit more strict. Walk away, a few hits, you're halfway there. Yeah, see, I could never do that. I found it near impossible to walk away. I spoke to Marlon about it, as another trader who's in the US who I talk to. Probably a few days a week. I'll chit-chat to him for an hour at a time. And we've chatted, and he said to me, it's almost like somebody takes over. And you go into like tunnel vision, and I watched a, what's her name? Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. Her name's Creda. I think it's Creda or Creda. She's a trader psychological coach. She actually subscribed to my channel, so that was one of my proudest moments. And she explains it very well. Let me just see if I can find it. She explains it very well. Yeah, she's a performance coach. I'm just going to quickly drag this picture into the screen. There she is there. 5 trading psychology tips to stop revenge trading. She's a performance coach, and she explains it very well. We sort of go into panic mode, and it's the natural bodies to rule out all the rules and regulate. I suppose if you've ever got into a punch-up in your life at some point, what's the first thing you do? You start swinging like a crazy man, don't you? You say, oh, this guy's coming up to me now. I'm going to keep my fists up, and I'm going to, take a swing at him. We're going to do this, and all that goes out the window, and it's sort of blind panic in it. And you get that fight or flight, and you start swinging like crazy, and all the rules, all the plans go out the window. And that's sort of how she describes it, and she describes it quite well. That turned into a good trade, actually. It's just as we've come off these highs back to the EMA, sometimes I like it a little bit closer. I dare say there's probably some of you guys who took that. What did it come up? 3. Watch flip your lid. In fact, when I was about 14, my stepfather was in the army, and we were in a place called Tidworth in the UK. It's in Hampshire in the UK, and it's about 10 army camps in one. And I remember he came home one day and said, "I've enrolled you in boxing classes." So I went to these boxing classes with a friend of mine, and we went for about a couple of months, I think, and we'd do all the usual stuff. We'd do a bit of shadow boxing, we'd box pads, bags, and all the usual, running around with the skipping ropes and stuff. And I remember him saying to me, right, you and another lad into the ring, you're going to do a little bit of sparring. I'd never done that before. And I remember going in there, and I was real nervous. And I remember getting hit. And I did not like that, and that was it. I can't remember much after that. I was just swinging like crazy. So anything I might have learned in the previous 2 months just goes out the window. And that's purely and simply because of emotions. So anything in life like that, where you do experience powerful emotions, you can't just flip a switch and switch the emotions off. It just doesn't work. The only way you deal with them is to expose yourself enough time. So you look at then a young boxer who might have been boxing for 2 years, and it's very different. There's a lot more control. They're not fueled by emotions as much. And that's sort of how it works. And that is purely and simply not being used to those emotions. So how do those emotions go away? Well, they don't really go away. They just become less of an impact because you get used to them. If you do anything enough, you get used to it to a degree and they become manageable. So that's my answer to the psychological side. It's just time. There's nothing more straightforward to it than that. I don't think. A lot of people say, try doing this, try doing that. Well, if I came home today and my wife came out to me and says, I've met someone else, I'm leaving you, I would be hit by a massive wall of emotions. It would be shock, frustration, anger. Then I would go through probably, getting upset, disbelief. And you go through a whole load of emotions. And then your mates might phone you up on a Friday night and say, right, forget it. It's not worth worrying about. Come out for a drink. And you'll go out for drinks with your mate. But it doesn't really get rid of anything. It's just like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. It's temporary. It doesn't work. So I think all the, writing things down, walking away from your computer, putting your mouse down, sitting back, all those things, I think, don't really work. They certainly haven't worked for me. And the only thing that has worked for me is just time. Being exposed to it, on a regular basis. You say, I'll be delighted. But you know what I'm saying, don't you? Anything where you have a lot of power. I'm not saying the emotions are to the same degree as, I'd certainly rather lose a trade than my wife saying she was leaving me. But it's, they're emotions nonetheless. And how do you deal with the loss of somebody like that? Time. There's no other way around it. It takes time. So that for me has turned into a nice trade. That for me is the answer. That's the only thing that I've changed apart from streaming. But I did feel the last PAI account I got a little bit further. I just lost my patience. But I felt like I was getting closer. And the only thing that has really changed is time. And I can write the book on that. Yeah. You're on about what the time thing or the wife leaving you. If your wife's left you or husband's left you and you managed to get past it, I'd say the reason you got past it is time. Okay, this looks like two. No, I wish I'd have taken that one. I left it for a reason, so I prefer the body a little bit closer, especially when we've come back to the EMA, but I think the buy-in, the strength of the buyers out there are nice and strong today. When I looked at the news, a couple of news channels this morning, I noticed everything was up, and I thought there was a possibility we may have a bit of a push this morning. Whether it'll continue throughout the day, possible. I think it's possibly likely. If I look on the daily, in the last couple of days, we've had some good strong pushes. So how high will come up, I don't know. Things are hard in the economy at the moment. So, I think it's doubtful we're going to continue to push out of here. But, they say you go through some sideways movement of range, most breakouts fail. So it's hard to say. Emotions, yeah. Got to say, there's nothing worse than blowing your account and that failing. It's horrible, isn't it? Especially when it's a PA account and you've just worked your ass off for 10 days for it. Well, it's 7 now, but you work 10 days and you get your PA account and then you pay your fees the feeling of blowing one of them is horrible. I've had days where I felt physically sick. It is horrible. And you swear you're not going to do it again, don't you? Yeah, it's not a nice feeling. But you have to experience it, and you have to do it plenty of times. And every time you experience it, you get used to what it feels like to a small degree. And you just keep getting better and better at dealing with it to the stage where it's not as powerful. And I think that's when you start to get some sort of grip on it. And then you get to, I don't think it ever goes away. No one wants to lose money, but you get a grip on it so you can manage it and it doesn't affect your trading. And I think that's what everybody works to. And I think that's all we're striving to. So if you are in the middle of blowing accounts, don't beat yourself up about it. Just try and get over it. Try and learn something from it, even if it's the fact that I know this gets easier. It's all part of the process. Don't be too hard on yourself. Tell yourself whatever you're going to tell yourself. Or look for answers. Look for, speak to a trader buddy. I know sometimes I've had a bad day and Marlon's given me a bit of a pick-me-up. He's given me a speech and a bit of a talking to. And it helps. So it is helpful to talk to people. So if everyone's still awake, it's another skill I possess, the ability to put people to sleep. Now, if I talk trading with my wife, sometimes I'll throw in a random comment there and she'll still be nodding. Okay, so that. Anybody else take that, did they? Oh, second entry. Yeah, it's risky, that is, because it's so far from the EMA. And we've come out of this channel here. We've had a push above it, so I think it's feasible we may come back in before we go higher. And at the moment, taking that, we are a little bit sideways here, so that would not... It would be a bit risky, that. I'm not saying it's not going to work. But I think you want to try and get away from habits of going long that far above the EMA. It's definitely a failed second entry by the count. But that really is your sort of takeoff base. That's ideally where you want to be taking trades from. We sort of come back to base, don't we? And it's a good way then to start again. So, I mean, it's a strong market today, but it's a risky trade, that is. And typically it'll go and win, and that'll make you think, oh, that's a good trade actually, but it's just too far from the EMA. What's the most important thing in PA? The most important thing. So what a PA account really is it's a demo account. It's still a demo account, but it's an account you can earn money from and build up. So you'll start on a 50,000 one. It'll say PA, and it'll start from 50,000. Then you just trade it the same way you've traded your evaluation. But once you get above $2,600, the trailing drawdown will stop at $50,100. So when you get to $52,600, your trailing drawdown stops, and that's when you start to take away from. So that's when you start to build yourself a cushion. And theoretically, if you get to $2,700, you could take out $2,000 if you wanted to. If you were desperate for the money and you wanted the money, you could. Obviously, you wouldn't have anything left, and you would blow your account soon after. But at least you know then you're building some money. So that's, it's kind of a nice feeling. So that's the difference between a PA account. Then you actually got the ability then to start making some money. So that's when you want to take a step back and slow things down a little bit and wait for those nice trades. There's no rush. You know, even if you sit here all day and don't take a trade, that is an excellent test in patience. If you can do that, just try it one day. Sit here, just watch the markets. Don't take anything. Just watch the markets. See if you can spot them, and then say, "Yeah, I would have taken a trade then." And just sit back. So you're taking the emotions out of the game there, and just watch, see what happens. But it's a brilliant exercise it's a brilliant. See that? If you're in that trade now, you'd be worried. It's a brilliant exercise in patience. Right. So I finished at a point. So if you'd have taken a point there, you quite likely wouldn't have got that. Before you stopped out. See, that's the trouble when it's so far away from the EMA. The only time you really want to be taking trades towards an EMA is if you're in a range, really, and you're taking at the top of a range, and you may have, say, a triple test and you're coming down, then that's a little bit of a story there. But on a trend like this, you only really want to be taking trades at the EMA. Places like that. I mean, you could see we had two legs back to the EMA, didn't we? And what happened? That rocketed up. Now, I normally take them a little bit closer. It's not to say it was a bad trade. I just tend to take them a little bit closer. If I hadn't made any money today, I'd have probably taken that. But if I've made money, the worst thing to do then is to give it back. So I tend to be extra cautious then. But you can see what happens if you took that trade. You wouldn't have got anything out of that. Maybe a few ticks if you were lucky, and you'd have probably taken it for a point, and it probably wouldn't have got taken. And then you're frustrated then, and what happens? It comes back to the EMA and then probably pushes higher again. But so yeah, just use that EMA as your safe base. That's where you take off from. Yeah, you take your trade from. So that's like your little I don't know, call it what you want, but that's where you want to base your trades from around the EMA, certainly on a trending day anyway. So we have had an overshoot here. We've had a couple of pushes up, and it's failed and pulled back into this range. So whether we're going to step out, make a new low and push higher, or whether we may move more to this side of the channel, it's hard to say at the moment. Just try and click on the break of end of day. It won't take you long. Break of end of day. Break at end of day. Where do I find that then? Break end of day. Just try and click on the break of end of day. It won't take you long. Maybe as quick as reloading. I tried and tick mine and then change. Change to exactly the same as yours. Up to you. I don't even know where to find. Where do I find it? Where do I find it? So you think data series? So you think that's wrong, do you? Is that what you mean? Time frame and data series. I'm gonna have a look into that later. Actually, I'm gonna look into that later. How do you keep news up on the chart? The news is excuse me. Sorry, the news is here. If I remember rightly, that indicator came as part. I think. It was part of one of the indicators that came from Mac, I think, that I got. Just give me a second now. Okay, we've had a break. Not a new low yet. I can see it on your screen. Where is it? You are looking at it. Break end of day. Below Am I missing something or I've just gone blank? Dimension 4? No, you're freaking me out now. It's got the indicator off max paid page. Yeah. That's Pat's indicator. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. It's a year and a half ago I got it. So data series, trading hours. Okay. Data series, trading hours. End of day. There. What am I looking at then? Below trading hours there. Yeah, I'd opened before. So you're saying it shouldn't be there? I'm just a bit nervous about changing anything. No disrespect, Tong. It's just I don't know you, so I don't know how long you've been. Check the end of day. Where's end of day? Is it in there somewhere? Is it? Oh, break it. Am I clicking here? Okay, what is this going to do exactly? Break end of day. What is that going to do? Check box. What does it do if I hit it? What does it do, Colin? That box there, yeah? Break end of day. So I'm checking it. What does it do exactly? That's the trouble. I've got to wait 10 seconds for me answer. What does that do? Yes. So if I click that, okay, what does it do, Brant? Do you know? Okay, I'll click it anyway. Uh-oh. What's going on? Ah! What's going on? Not sure, but have luck. So you're using me as an experimental, are you? So look. Okay, let's get that back to where it was. Okay. Where's me trade? Okay. Did everything look probably the same as it did? Nothing's really changed. Switch it on, I've done that then. I have it ticked as well, haven't got a clue. Right, yeah, I've got that jump. Right, I've got the gap. Yeah. Got you. Okay, I've got the gap. Okay, so have more of you guys got on your chart that gap? Yeah. Let's have a look. Vertical line. What does that mean? What are you doing to me? At least I know where it is anyway, and it's only a tick, isn't it? So, okay. Shows the gap. I got you. Okay. Is that important? Oh, I suppose it really matters, does it? Mind the gap. Okay, it's on now anyway, so. I thought you meant actually change the, I thought you might actually sort of change in this. Right, okay, yeah, I got no problem with that. Okay, we're all good. That's on, isn't it? Yeah, break end of day. Lovely. Okay. Okay. There's a pause in data between close and open. Oh, I see. So I got you. Okay. Well, to be fair, when I usually look at Marco's chart when he posts it before the day starts, now and again his will show a gap. I don't think mine does actually, so that's probably why. Okay, so let's have a look at this now because we. Okay, so we know we're in an upward bias here anyway, so let's start back and get some of these short-term trend channels in. I used to do this religiously on every tiny little push. I tend to not do it as much now because you get used to seeing where things tend to break. We're going upwards anyway, so Yours too. Yeah, great. That's fine. That's good enough. If everybody's got the same, that's good enough. Oh, excuse me. I did get an email from Apex, actually. Sometimes, you wonder when you see these videos on Apex and you're thinking, does every guy work for Apex? Because I saw a video with Chris Childers on doing a video from his car when he got a payout. And it says, yeah, Apex are good and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, you work for Apex. Is that slightly biased? But then to be fair, when I got a message saying I've had my $2,000 been processed or been cleared, they did say, do you want to either have a quick Zoom interview or do you want to make a video and then enter, just about your experience with Apex and then enter into a competition to win, I don't know, $9,000 or something. So then I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Perhaps the videos aren't everybody who works for Apex. I didn't do it anyway either. My wife says I should only keep my beautiful face for her, so I shouldn't put it on camera. A moment might make other people feel inferior, see. Take a look at the uptrade from the swing at your 1440. 1440, that one there. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's make things a bit easier. Let's orange it up a bit. Yeah. Trouble is, we've pushed to the top here, then we've come back to this side, and we've had a couple of pushes up. Yeah, I think certainly the angle of attack is definitely changing, isn't it? In fact, what I might do, let's just get rid of the colour here. Just for now. Okay. Yeah. So I prefer it somewhere like that, but just wondering, what if you take it from here? Is that any better? It's hard to say. I kind of like it. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, let's leave it there for now. Okay, so at least we know we're going up anyway, don't we? So let's get in a bit closer. Figure out what's going on. Okay, let's remove these. Sometimes they can one leg up, two legs up. Okay. Right, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm just going to take a quick pee and then grab myself a coffee, and I'll be back up in 5. There you go, I'm back. Tea in hand. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because that's confusing me a little bit. I'm just going to pull that down out of the way for now. Let's leave that there for now. Okay, that seems to be... it's better now that's out of the way, Brant, actually. It's a bit more clearer now. That's the trouble when you start to... So, yeah, we're getting some nice, strong movement today. Okay, let's get in here a bit. Wait for a setup. What have I missed? Sorry, Jim, I didn't realise you were going, mate. Yeah, have a good night. Take it easy, sorry. Okay, let's see if we can get something around about here somewhere. Gotta say, I do like a range day. Just so much easier to trade. Yeah, sometimes you get a little bit of sidewaysy stuff, but just nowhere near as choppy. Push up, pull back, push up, pull back. But just a lot clearer. A lot easier to read. Hate trends. The trouble is, lately, whenever you get a range, see, when I first started, ranges seemed to be a lot clearer. We got to the top and you sell. You got down at the bottom and you buy. The trouble is, every time they come up, they seem to come up at different places, so it just makes it a lot harder. Personally, that's my personal opinion. And same with the bottom, whereas these, it's quite clear. We had a push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up, pull, small pull back, pull. You know what I mean? It just seems a lot clearer. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can certainly have awkward awkward channels to to trade. But this, because it's quite nice and strong, we're getting that pullback, and we're. I thought we would obviously have this little bit of sideways because we got to the sort of that end of the channel. So, but then it's been push up, pull back. It's been a lot clearer. Obviously, the trouble is the closer it gets to this line, the sort of less the distance you've got to the top to get into a trade, and sort of as it goes up, the sharper it goes up, and then in fact that was quite. It tends to go around the other way, doesn't it? It tends to go up sharp and then sort of feather out, but it seems to have gone up and then goes up even sharper. So. I kind of like that as well, actually. Touch, 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 touch. Let me just take this bigger trend out of the way a minute. Okay, we started here. We've fallen nice there, fallen nice there, fallen nice there. Let's just leave that. Trouble is, I don't generally put these bigger trends until the end of the day. I kind of like. So I'll just feather it down a bit. So yeah, good thing with me having this payment now, it enables me to trade 5 days a week. So I'll be trading every day now. So just makes more things a lot more interesting for me. I've got to say, I feel just the not having to go out on those extra couple of days and work is just such a nice feeling. I've got to say. The day I give up work forever, it's going to be one of the best days of my life. I shit you not. Yeah, you don't really want to be taking shorts here. Regardless of either one of these channels, because if you do, you're probably likely to get ticked and push up. Something I used to do, just look for patterns. I used to, and then I remember Daniel said to me, "You're just pattern chasing. You're not looking at the overall context." And then just something, the way he described it, just stuck in my head, and that changed my trading. That took me, 2 or 3 steps forward then, because I was thinking, that's a second entry short, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Look at it, it's perfect. But then the context is up. The market's up, and chances are we're going to come back to here. So you certainly don't want to be taking a short to come back to here. One, it's risky anyway, and You have a boat to take out. I've got a boat, actually. It's a 3-metre rubber dinghy. Nothing glamorous, I assure you. Trading international waters like in the movies. In fact, there were some guys outside my house earlier, and I could see they had a bigger roll of wiring, so I stuck my head out and I went, "What are you doing?" They went, "We're putting new internet cables, getting rid of all the copper ones." Fantastic news. I know we had a letter around saying they were going to do it at some point, and I was just thinking, you can never have quick enough internet. And then I saw this rolls, and I was thinking, please tell me they're doing this. And they are putting new fibre cables down, getting rid of the old copper ones. They reckon it's going to take about 2 months, so hopefully. I mean, we haven't got a terribly slow connection, but you could always do with more juice, couldn't you? Do you know, my dream is to move to Dubai. There's a guy I talk to once in a while called Joe. He lived in Norfolk in the UK, and he was a teacher. And he went out to Dubai maybe 7 or 8 years ago for a year just to teach. He saw an offer. There was a new area that needed a teacher in a school, and he applied for it, and he went over there. And he absolutely loved the place. So when he came back, a while later, just randomly learnt to trade, started making some good money, and he moved over there, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago. Just him and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know what he is. Really nice guy. I've chatted to him before quite a few times. And that's where he lives now. That's the beauty about Dubai. It's tax-free, so if you're a banker or an investor or a trader, I mean, then it's ideal. That's the beauty about this job. You can work from a computer and an internet connection. So theoretically, you can up sticks and move away. And for that guy Vince earning $800,000, can you imagine how much tax he's paying on that? If you earn $800,000 a year, that's about, £630,000. You'd probably pay about £300,000 tax just in a month. You think of the life you could have in Dubai for $300,000, just the money that you'd be paying to the tax. Wow. I can certainly see the fascination with Dubai, that's for certain. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of that in a minute. I'm just going to put a line there because that's confusing me a little bit. I just want to see where that's coming to. It was there. We're going sideways here, see, so I like taking, if we get a nice setup off here to push higher. Trouble is, this range is there's not much from top to bottom. So I'm just wondering whether it's going to break this line or come back to this bigger trend. Because I'd like it to come back to here, because I like it to have a little bit of distance to the highs. So I'm just going to get an order ready just in case. I'm hoping this finishes bearish and then we get another drop out this bottom, I think. Excuse me, sorry. I believe I'm just taxed as an individual business, a contractor business. Just quickly, this is a bit of a range here, and it has broken out the bottom, most breakouts fail. And we are at this key entry point here. So if I get a decent bullish bar, preferably closing above the EMA, then I'm probably going to go long here. So, but yeah, I believe we're taxed in accordance with the UK government, which I believe, obviously, once you hit a certain fee, is about 40. I think it's 41%. And then with your national insurance, I think you're paying maybe total of 45% of what you earn, you'll lose. Okay, so this, let me just get rid of that a minute, because I might take this with a limit order, because there's not a massive amount of room for the highs, so I want to try and, okay. So 2 points off the second entry short. Yeah, I mean, it is a second entry short, but going short there so close, not saying it's going to work, but it's not going to work, but it's risky, that's the trouble. And if you are taking shorts there, it's picking up bad habits that you've got to be careful of. Because the trouble is, every time they work, that sort of gets you into that false sense of security that that's a good trade. Okay, I think we can all agree that that's clearly a break. Let's have a look. Okay, we started here. Nice there. I can remove this now, I think. Okay, so we're going to look for, I'm looking for something to get us back up here. Our tax, same, maximum 33%, I believe. Same, and our max is 33%. Yeah, perhaps trading or something is different. I've not really looked into it too much because I've put a chunk of money into it. I'm obviously going to take that back out first, and that's probably going to take quite a few months. So it's something I'll look into. So obviously, once I've earned back what I've invested into it, then obviously need to take tax into consideration. But I will look into this actually, because you're not the first person who's mentioned that they think the tax is different. At the end of the day, this is just a business, just the same as any other business. So the downside of here is obviously you've got to invest money in there, which you'll initially probably lose. But a lot of businesses, you put money in, it takes you, a certain amount of time to get your money back. So it's something I'll look into. That's your failure, isn't it, that you took? Yeah, that's the trouble. When we're in an uptrend, you're taking that just out the bottom. Now, most breakouts fail, and you obviously, with the amount of buy-in pressure there is in this market today, you wouldn't expect this to last before it pushes back in. And the trouble is, if you take that, right, that tick forward, wouldn't it? So you'd have struggled to get a point out of that if you'd have taken the failure, and that's the trouble. It's taking a short like that just after it's broken out of a trend in an uptrend is about as risky as you can get. I'm not saying it's not going to come down, but obviously you can see how much the buying pressure in that from the open. We've come up a fair chunk, so going short is just a bit. Where we open? Yeah, it's come up nearly 60 points, and I don't think it's over yet. sometimes when you think it can't get any higher, it just rockets up again. Okay, so we've had a breakout there. We've made a new low, so I want it to push above here before I think about going long. But I'm obviously going to make sure I've make sure I've got enough room to these highs. Yeah, I mean, we have had a correction here, didn't we? We had a correction here, drop back, push up, another correction here, drop back. I expect another push up. And it has worked its way back to this side of the channel, isn't it? So it's just hard to say, isn't it? You certainly don't want to be taking anything to or above the EMA because it is possible that it could come down. A 21-day moving average. It's the exponential moving average, not the standard moving average. If you can ask me what the difference is, I don't know. It's a secret. I don't know, because there's a few different types of moving averages, isn't it? I don't really know. Okay, 2 legs down. One thing I will say about indicators is, I remember I did 6 months under a guy called Andrew Lockwood, who was a UK trader. He worked for some of the big investment banks on the trading floors of the London Stock Exchange during the 80s. And he teaches now and he trades from home. And I remember him saying sometimes traders will obsess themselves with indicators all over the place. And his theory was the less indicators, the better. So the thing about with this style of trading is that's the only indicator we really use, the 21-day exponential moving average. So that keeps things quite simple. I think as it comes to trading charts, I think this is probably as simple as it gets. All we basically use is trend channels and range channels with that one indicator. A couple of other things, like measured moves and stuff like that, but it just doesn't really get any simpler than this. The charts don't get any less complicated than this. That's what I kind of like. Going to say, when I used to do some charting in TradingView, when I was trading currencies, we had indicators coming out your arse. I mean, they were everywhere, and it does make things complicated, I've got to say. It is nice to have things nice and simple. It gives you I mean, this is price action trading, so you are trading purely on the movement of these bars. So the less crap you have on your screen, really, the better it'll be. We're still in it. Yeah, we possibly are, mate. Trouble is, you can adjust it till it fits anywhere, really, can't you? Trouble is, you adjust it to there. I mean, really, it's usually off the first couple of swings, so I would say there, and that will be a break. The trouble is, you can move it to anywhere, so where do you consider a break? See, that's the problem. So we've had this initial push up, haven't we? A bit of sideways back to the EMA. So that's where I would usually take a bigger... There's the first channel. That's where I would usually take another channel. But obviously there is a bigger sort of overall day one, isn't there? But ultimately, for me anyway, regardless of whether we've broken or not, I won't take a trade until we push above the EMA anyway, which then we'd normally retest these highs. But there may be a sort of a bigger overall one. But see, there's the gap there, isn't there? So there's not even a start from here, really. Even if we took this one up, it's you know what I mean? It's not really clear, is it? See, I suppose it's possible we could have come off this spike. So that's possible. It's hard to say, really. Let's zoom back in. So there is sort of a second entry long there, but the trouble is, it is possible we could come out, try to retest and come down. So I want to wait for a lower high, really, because you just don't know what whether this market might come out. It may come out and take a slightly different path, or it just might come out and then strongly push back in. Spike and then the previous channel. Yeah, trouble is, with charts looking slightly different, I think that sort of works in a fashion. I like the way we've touched it here, and we've sort of stop, up a bit, stop, up a bit, stop. We've sort of run that sort of line as that works. So this one looked, I suppose, yeah, you could take it from there if you wanted to. It would, or even that one there. But we still, based on that, I mean, that works just as good as any. It works well with there, a bit closer to the top, but I would still consider that as a break, regardless of whether we went from here free. I mean, you could keep trying to rearrange it until it fits, couldn't you? So it would be in. I mean, you could do that if you wanted to. It does fit nice on the top, actually. But where am I coming to? Just a random bit in there? That's the trouble. It's... Okay, let's see if we can get here anyway. Even if we have or we haven't broken. See if we can get a lower high. I think if we do push up, I think we're likely to strongly push. We may even not come back and get another one. Excuse me a second, I'm going to let my dogs in. My wife and daughter have just gone out, they're going to start whining in a minute otherwise. Okay. See if we can get a lower high here. We've made one leg up, so I kind of like that. I just think it's gonna come up pretty quick. Sometimes you're better off using a limit order. Let's see. Do you know something? There's something about that I don't like. If this finishes bullish, you can have 3 candles back to back there. I just don't like the way we've had this drop and pull. The EMA's facing down at the moment, so something about that I don't like. Now I expected the EMA to face down a little bit, but then I thought with this it may lift a bit, but something about it I don't like. This might be a bit better. Trouble is sometimes they rocket up this. Actually, I'm going to get a limit order ready because I don't like the size of that bar. I want it to trigger and come back a bit before I take that, I think. It's getting a little bit congested, I think. Trouble is, second entry short, that's an inside bar, so I can't see a lot of traders taking that, even if it triggers. It's just a bit of a dodgy bar, especially as it's closed above the EMA. So I can't see there's going to be a great deal of shorts in that, to be fair. But it may look different on your chart, that's the thing. Perhaps it may have ticked up. I don't think they tick higher necessarily. They just might look different in where that solid red, perhaps it might be a bit, the red down the bottom, which is giving this, telling us the same thing. But it is a little bit congested there. And I've been bitten too many times. I'm not saying it's not going to go up, it probably is, but I've just been bitten too many times. although it is working up a bit. I certainly would consider a limit order, but if it comes back down here, then that's telling me even more it's congested. So now that higher low has triggered. And I expected it to push up a lot stronger than that. I'm not saying it's not going to, but if it manages to get up here, there's probably going to be some shorts there. Maybe some shorts there, it's hard to say, but it's not pushing up as strongly as I would have expected. Now, what I will say is that is a second entry short. If that finishes bearish and triggers, and as finishes bearish, pretty bearish, I don't know if there'll be shorts there though. There may be some shorts thinking the market's going to do this. Certainly possible it might do. See what I mean? There's going to be, if that triggers, then I think then it may be the catalyst to take it higher. But it's a little congested, but there's probably going to be some shorts in there, I don't know, even though I wouldn't take that. It's above the EMA anyway and still moving up. Doesn't trigger anyway, I don't think. So, yeah, perhaps just trying to think where the short stops would be. Maybe here, so they may have brought it up a bit higher, the stop. I think if it pushes up higher than that, still it's going to go a bit more. It's just a little bit congested here, a little bit too risky. Yeah, there's no failure in there. Not my chart anyway. We've got the new low. There's no failure there. It just sort of moves up. I just wondered though whether there was going to be some shorts in there, but it didn't trigger. Now, what I do know is some traders, not necessarily this style of trading, will just buy in that when they see that. So it doesn't necessarily have to tick. I heard Max saying that a lot of traders might just buy it there, so it doesn't necessarily have to trigger for them to short that second entry short. We've gone higher here. We try, we've come down. We're trying to go once, trying to go twice. So it's hard to say at the moment, but it's a bit risky, that, in my opinion. My risk level drops when I get up. I try and there's nothing worse than giving back when you've made money. I'd rather go away with that. I mean, if I can average that every day, that's flipping brilliant on 2 contracts. So I'd quite happily go away on that. So I want to make sure this next one is that bloody obvious. It rockets up. 11 days. 11 of the days trading the eval. That's not taking any trades, just watching PA. If you can do that, you got the patience of a saint, I'll give you that. You're like the ideal husband. Yeah, if you can do that. I mean, patience is one of the hardest things to get to grips. If you can just sit there and watch the market. It's sometimes, I've done that the odd day and haven't taken any trades. And sometimes it's nice just to watch it, and you tend to focus. You focus in a slightly different way. You tend to see, sometimes you've got your head down, you focus on the individual bars, but you can sort of get a bigger picture, really. So it's a really useful lesson, that is, I think, because, every time you sit in front of one of these screens and watch this market move, you're learning. It's like when you learn to drive a car. You're constantly, without realising it, you're fine-tuning everything. You look for a space, I can get through that space. You're just constantly fine-tuning your skills without really realising it. So even just sat there watching the price moving and, the bars form and seeing and noticing patterns and stuff's a good lesson. You're still absolutely learning. Yeah, there is it's just risky at the moment, trading. It's just hard to know exactly what's happening. In fact, this may even be something a little larger there, maybe. Because we have had some strong movement, so perhaps we are just, yeah, I think it would make sense, wouldn't it? We've had a push up, a little bit of sideways, push up, a little bit of side. That would make sense on the pattern we're seeing so far. Push up, sideways, push up. It's about the same, isn't it? About the same distance. Sideways, push up, sideways. We had that little bit there before the bigger one, and we've done the same a little bit there. So it's quite a nice pattern, that, isn't it? But it does. But if you see what happens when we come back down to this bit here, then we push up again. So I log into your live just for listening. This advice, okay. You need to hear to keep myself in control. It is nice to listen to other people talking, I've got to say. I watch a lot of videos, and I like to hear people saying, trading's difficult, don't beat yourself up, take your time, everybody's struggling. It's kind of nice when people tell you what you're struggling to get in your head. So I love listening to people. I get more value out of hearing something than seeing something, you know what I mean? So it is, I think it's just nice. It's just nice to have that little bit of company and that little sort of understanding word, isn't it? That, you know, like even just that is it Vince, his name is, that guy who, with the $800,000, just hearing him refer to himself as the king of resets, that made me feel better. So I think it is good. And, I think if you are struggling sometimes, go look for it. Look for some comforting words, or look for something that make you feel better to stop you giving up. Because it does help. You know, you got to do what you got to do, haven't you? I think, yes, a lot of the time it's just nice to have that bit of company, is it? And someone else's point of view. Because trading, we all know trading can be quite lonely sometimes, especially if you're in a bad place. And I've been in some, pretty darkish moods where I felt really bad. Yeah, see you, Jacko. Take it easy, mate. Back here tomorrow as usual. Incidentally, if I do put on Mac's Facebook group, I do put a little, what is it? It's just a copied stream link, that's all. But if you're not subscribed, I believe if you subscribe, you get a notification. I'm not sure. I think you do. I'm not a YouTuber really, but when you see like and subscribe, I don't know if the bell notification, I don't know if I've got a bell notification, I don't know. But I believe if you subscribe, yes, because I get an email. I've noticed I even get an email saying you're live. So yeah, if you're not subscribed and you want to know what I'm doing this, then if you subscribe, I believe you get a notification anyway. But by now anyway, I'm here Monday to Friday now, unless anything changes, any sort of family stuff comes up. But at the end of the day, I'm earning money now, and I've taken away my Fridays and Mondays work. So this is earning money for me now. So obviously this will be priority over any other type of stuff. Okay, so if this is right and we haven't had a break yet, I kind of like the fact that we've got this break, because we're in this little bit of sideways, and if we do come down to the bottom and we can get a nice offer like something like that, then that might be a nice way back up, because we've had one leg down and we're having a second leg down. I kind of like that. Or it may finish bullish there. It hasn't done, but I kind of hope it does come down here a bit. I kind of think we've got a nice number of people on here now. Trouble is, when you have so many people, once you get into the not that I'll ever get hundreds, but once you get so many people on, it's hard to keep track with a bit of chit chat. And I kind of like that, when the market isn't doing much, I can sort of look to my left and I can, have a little chat with you guys, because, we're all in the same big club here, aren't we? So I kind of like chatting as much as I do trading, as you probably gathered. Okay, so if we can get down here, that possibly a second entry long, if we can get something nice around here. How I've drawn this channel now, sort of works here, works at the top quite well. You could say this is a break, couldn't you? Excuse me a sec. Sort of a break, isn't it? The only things that make me a little bit nervous is we've touched here, we haven't pushed up and come back down, so I'm just wondering whether we are feathering off. Perhaps we need a bit of a break first, but let's see if we can get an offer in here. So what have we got? 246. If we can get something down the bottom, we got 246. 6 points of possible profit if we can get up there now. It's a possible second entry long. Just a little bit nervous about that, I am, for some reason. I think even if that finishes bullish, I'm a little bit nervous about it. I kind of hope it doesn't, actually. I'd kind of rather get it. I'd rather get it down here first. That finishes down here, that'd be perfect, I think. It might set our next bar off. I want it to rocket down, but just finish around about here somewhere. And another bar, drop down below, and then push back up. Okay, that's not so bad. I want this to finish below here if we can. That's it. There, I'll finish about there. And then if we can get another bar dropping around about to here, if we can get something bullish that'll touch around about here, push up, Preferably not as low as that. Okay. Anybody else getting a bit nervous about going along here? I know it's a second entry long if it does happen. I just don't like the way it's dropped below there now. That's making me more nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous about going along there. Even if the opportunity arises, but there's something about it I don't like. It's a bit of fast movement there. Yeah, just want to check I wasn't the only one here. And we have had two sort of clear legs down, but I just don't like the way it's broke lower than this. Because if you look, every time it comes up back to the MA, or pushes down to its low here, low here, low here, it's still higher than the previous. And that's come down lower, so that's what's making me a bit nervous. Especially now I've realised it touches perfect there, perfect there. I mean, the way things have gone on today, I'd like to think we're going to continue up, but two legs down, see what happens here. I'm just going to leave that. It might not be, I'm just going to leave it. No, it doesn't look right anyway, does it? Let's leave it for now. It's just the way it's gone lower, that's what's making me a bit nervous. Okay, that kind of fits. Trouble is, we've got to break here and then we've got to go even lower. That's telling me. I'm just getting the impression we're losing the upward momentum here, I am. Excuse me, just a couple of minutes. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Do you know, I was just looking at these and we're going up in twos, but there's quite a distance, and I've realised how low the ATR is today. So the average bar is 2.25 points. It's usually quite a bit higher than that. We're almost going back about, quite a while actually, before we've had bars that small. That's pretty small, that is. I just usually, when we got this, how I blow it up like this, they're usually a little bit closer together, those. Okay, so we have sort of had two legs down, haven't we? But see what happens here. I don't know, I think we're starting to lose momentum, I think. Yeah. I mean, if I'd have got in there, it would have been down here anyway. But obviously the bar's no blooming good anyway. But if I would have got in there and it went up a couple of points, I don't know. It just seemed risky, that is, anyway. The way we've come down quite strongly. And this is beating this. If you look, every time we've come down, this is the lowest there, this is the lowest there, this is the lowest there, this is the lowest. You know what I mean? It's still, you know, but this has actually dropped below this. That's what's making me a bit nervous, and maybe we are going a bit sideways, and maybe we'll come up at a steeper angle, or maybe we're going to have a proper drop out of it. It's hard to tell at the moment. It's just hard to sort of tell at the moment. But if you see, we came down there. When we came down here, it wasn't as low as there. It was a few ticks higher. We've dropped below there, so that's what's making me a bit nervous. Okay, we've come down, we've had a break. See if this makes it lower. I suppose this will tell us where the bias is at the moment. If we do come down and make a new low, then I don't know, I fancy us to retest this and maybe come down a bit more. It's hard to say. Strong trend days to have a smaller... Yeah, I've never really noticed, to be fair. In a lot of cases, they're up around about 3 nowadays, aren't they? Sometimes a bit more. Tick below and tick above, tick below, 3.5 points. I tend to think the average is somewhere around 3.5 points at the moment. And could be an early entry long. I don't know. See how that's come down quite strongly there. That's making me nervous now. I think we might have an area of coming down for a while. A lot of red there. I'm just thinking where there's likely to be shorts as we've pushed down here and pushed down here. Yeah, see, I'd be nervous about going along there, to be fair. But or is it a bad trade? Maybe it's not, because we've had a breakout, haven't we? Let's have a look. See how it finishes. Nah, something about it I'm not comfortable with. I think before I get back in going long, I want it to be above this EMA. I wouldn't be so shocked if we made quite a strong move down now. I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, you're not on your own, Lucas. I'm a bit scared to go along here as well at the moment. I mean, we've clearly had an upward bias, but with this strong push down, back up, And look, we've struggled, haven't we? We made this new high, try to go once, try to go twice. In a lot of cases, that can fail. So this may be the top for a while. It's hard to say. We might just, I don't know, continue to go at a sort of lower level, but I just don't know. I think any trade at the moment is just a bit risky. But I wouldn't be stunned if we do move down. I think from past experience, when we get a trend like this, which is not very tight but nice, tend to last a lot of cases, then we do get a push out. But it's certainly a nice biased upwards. Well, we're definitely moving upwards. There's obviously no two ways about that, but I don't know. I'm just nervous about going long here at the moment, especially how that's pushed down strongly. We've had a break, and not just a new low, we've pushed down even further. I'm just trying to see if there's anything around here that may slow it down or turn it around. It's hard to say, is it? It's pushed down that quite a lot, actually. No, I wouldn't be shocked if we came back up a bit and went down some more. Yeah, I see what you mean. We've had a break, we've made a new high, haven't we? And then we've tried once, twice, and we failed, and we've certainly failed quite big style, haven't we? It's not a huge way to fall out of a trend, though, is it? It could push back in, and then it may go at a slightly less steep angle. Good time to warm the hands up. That actually fits really nice there, I think. Let's have a look. Take a second entry short if it comes from the resistance and the EMA. With all this upward stuff, I don't think I could. I'd like it really to come up here and test it, and then come down and test it probably a third time really before I'd be convinced it was. I know what you're saying though. I think it's likely it's going to come up to here, and then it'll either then move back into the range and up, or it'll make another leg down. There's three. I'll tell you what. I'll guarantee. There's three things it'll either do. It'll either go up, it'll either come down, or it'll go sideways. And I'm pretty 100% sure there. So take that what you will. Yeah, you'll definitely want to do three things. Yeah, one of the three things. Definitely for sure. Yeah. Just don't ask me which. Extend my trend channel through the tops and about here. I did that and it didn't look right. Yeah, that's not right. That is. No. That's what you meant, I'm assuming, wasn't it? Yeah, we could push up a bit and then maybe do something like that. It's hard to say, isn't it? You just don't know, do you? Sometimes we'll do that, drop out and make another channel above using this line as resistance. I'm betting on a short. I just couldn't bring myself to take a short, to be honest with you, especially after we've had all this, because this, I mean, realistically, this could just be a couple of legs down. It's just hard to say at the moment, isn't it? From experience, I tend to not take shorts until we push out, come back up a bit, and then make another leg down. If I can see them, we're possibly having a couple of other legs down. In other words, we've tried to come up again, but it's failed again. Then I might think about getting to shorts. But after we've had this strong upwards movement, from as soon as we opened, it's just... In fact, tell you what, let's just... Did that close or open? I don't know. Let's do that from here a minute. No, okay, I'll tell you what. Let's bring that to here. I mean, there's a possible bigger trend there, so let's have a look. Let's see how far it comes down. So there is a possible bigger trend there. Let's just take the colour on that a minute. It is possible we've pushed along this bottom half of it, and then the sort of top section of it could be something like that. We'll see what happens if we come down to here. Let's remove that a minute. Okay, because that kind of would sort of fit, really, wouldn't it? And in a lot of cases, I'll do that. One side of it, and then maybe the top side of it, and then occasionally, obviously, you're gonna come back. So let's see if it does come down here. See what it does when it comes down to here. I mean, when we have these trend channels, you know, some do go short areas back. The trouble is, you never quite know when it's going to stop and turn and push back up. But it hasn't sort of established itself as maybe doing anything different than up at the moment. So maybe we've had a push up, bit of sideways, push up, bit of sideways. This is the first time since here that we may have come back. If this is a bigger, I mean, if we come back from here and then start to move up and get above the EMA, then I am figuring it's going to continue higher then for another chunk of the day. But that's sort of semi-speculation, really, until tells us any different. But well, let's just think about this. We've had two legs down. Okay, so this to me now is a bigger channel. So if we do come up here and we push above and it ends up bearish, not only will it end up bearish there, it'll end up bearish at the bottom of this this bit of this range here. So that, I suppose, could tell you that then maybe we're going to come low, and if you want, you can ride it from there to the bottoms and possibly beyond. I think that would be a right trend, wouldn't it? I think there's a little bit of uncertainty whether it's doing this a little bit. Are we coming down? Are we pushing up or what? Up trend seems kind of done. Yeah, yeah. It seems like it's feathering out, at least for the moment. We've hit this high. We've tried once, tried twice, and it's failed, and it's come down, you know, relatively strongly. So is it going to continue down? Maybe till it finds a bit more. So obviously the buyers are looking at that market, thinking we've got an up market. So where am I going to look to buy? Well, we've made a high here, we've failed here, we failed here. So let's take one down the bottom. There isn't any offers there, so it's slowing down a bit. So I think they're going to attract more buyers, maybe somewhere in this section here, you know, with a little bit of upward movement. Which, you know, Let's see what happens if we get up to this EMA. I mean, I say I won't take one. That to me is a sort of a second entry short. If we get a really big, strong bearish bar, we're clearly in a range here, and there's clearly, if we can push above this and come down, there's clearly at least 3.5, 4 points to go lower. So then, yeah, I might do. Especially after we've had this, that's maybe convinced me that we might do. See what happens here. I kind of like the way it's closed below, so that's good. I want that to push higher though, and to finish bearish before I can think about going low. That to me is second entry short, but it has to go above there, or at least at the same level, and then before I can think about shorting that. Trouble is, it might come down to about here and then push up against. I'm waiting for a strong push. One way or the other way, react from the bias towards push up. Yeah. I mean, there's clearly a downtrend there. I'm 100% sure of that. See what happens here. Or this may be the start of the pulling back a bit and then a move up again. It's hard to say. Yeah, I want that bar to be at least the same height as that, preferably a little bit higher. And if it does, and it closes here, then it's used the bottom, this line as resistance as well, which I'd say will give it even more pressure to take that, to make that new low, but I don't think it's going to get higher, is it? Okay, see if the next one goes up, that's fine. As long as we're not stepping down here. Push up. We've had a push above it, it's rejected. We've had a push above it, it's rejected. If we can get that push above it and a following bearish bar, then I'll take that short then. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's tried a few times to get higher, and every time it's closed below that EMA. But it's got to be higher, at least higher than this to match this. What sort of distance have we got down there to the low? Okay, it's about 3.5 points, isn't it? So it might be a quick couple of points here, see what happens. Okay, I kind of like the way that's worked. Let's see if we can get an offer here. EMA has gone flat. I'm not mega concerned as long as that finishes right, because we've had a channel clear break once, twice, 3 times, all closed below there. If that's bearish, I think that's a good enough place to take short. Keep that twice, sort of keep it close if it does. Okay, I think that's okay. It's quite a small risk as well. I'm going to keep that one tick above there. It's one tick off where I'd like it, so it's not a massive risk. It's not moving down as strong as I'd like it, but I can't see where there's any traps here that attract people either. Yeah, we may get screwed here. If you call that a short-term trend channel, we've had a break in a new high, so I think that's on our side. The fact is that we're using this as resistance. We've had a clear breakout. That's a hidden second entry short. I think the trade's okay. Might just take a bit of time. It's hard to say, or that might be one leg up, and then another leg up we might get stopped there. It's hard to say. I don't think it's a bad trade. I'd certainly like to get out of it, I think. The way it's just struggling to push down a bit. Hopefully if it gets a little bit more movement down, then okay. That's given me a little more confidence, I think. I still like it to go down a bit further. Push down, go on. I'm just going to keep it as tight as I think I can. Okay, that's all right for me. The bias is up and it's concerning me a little bit. It may come right down, I don't know, it's hard to say. Or it may come down, make a little bit of a pullback and come down, and then this may be. I'm happy with what I got there. I just didn't want to be too greedy. We might find that maybe something like that. We might, yeah, it come down nicely actually. I should have stayed in it. But in hindsight, you just don't know. But we could pull back a little bit here, and then this might then turn into a bigger overall downtrend for a while. Who knows? I don't know. But I think we're coming to the bottom of this. Larger. And I'm not a fan of shorting these anyway, but I think that was okay. We clearly had that break. We had two pushes up, one push up, another push up. All, let me just zoom in a bit. All closed below that EMA and below the bottom of this trend channel. It sort of resisted that. I kind of like the way that worked then. How far did it come down? Oh, it's coming down really strong, isn't it? It's come down what? Okay, you'd have probably got 6 points out of that, maybe a bit more. What did I get? Probably 3 points, I think, something like that. Let me have a look. 1, 2, 3. So 2.5 points. I thought I got a bit more than that. I'll tell you why I'm thrown, because of this ATR small, so it looked a lot more. But that's okay. Any winning trade's a good one. See if we do come back up here now. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's okay. I mean, that for a total for a day. God, if you can average that 5 days a week, you would be laughing. So I'm pleased with that. So that was a clear downtrend. We clearly had a break. That was a hidden second entry long. Second entry short. I'd say we had a break, not necessarily a new high, but an equal high. But I'm okay with it because it's using that as resistance for a start. We strongly pushed down using it as resistance. And yeah, it's I've got where I wanted to get. Let's have a look. Yeah. I could have come in a bit more. Trouble is, you just don't know. It might come down to here, then push up. You just don't know. Sometimes, if you think the trade's a good short, but you're not 100% sure where it's coming to, sometimes it's nice just to get a couple of points, make a bit of money, and then get out. Because anything, once it gets below there, just the way we've had today, who knows where it's going to push back up? You know, it's come down to the bottom of here, but you just don't know, do you? So I think sometimes you're better off getting something. guaranteed. If I drop it here, I'm guaranteed I'm going to make that, haven't I? There's no guarantee what it's going to do below there. So was it 2 points? Was it 2.5? 2.5 points. Okay, $733. That is a great day's work. I mean, let's say, for instance, let's say I did my three $2,000 payouts. So let's say I get the count up to, after the 3 months, I don't know, for argument's sake, let's say $15,000. If I make that in a day, you take their 10% off it. That takes it down to about $650. That's about 530 English pounds. You do that 5 days a week, that's well over £10,000. That's well over £100,000 a year. 120 odd thousand just for trips. So that, for me, I try and take things day by day, and that is a good day's work. So I'm pleased with that. So I've done 2 nice winning trades today. Certainly been easy to trade today because we've had quite this nice strong up. Now, I'm not a fan of counter trend trading, but as we've come to the top here and we've pushed clearly down and we've had a break, I think there's no denying that was a trade to take. Obviously, it would have been nice to be in the bottom, but you know, I've never got a problem coming out with a trade and guaranteeing myself something. But that's quite a nice. It's been quite a pleasant day actually. It's been a lot easier to read. Learn to read hidden entries, and you'll see. Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of sort of newish guys will see that and think, "Oh, yeah, but it's not." But it is. We've pushed up. We've had a little bit of sideways. Yeah, so we've. You've just got to see it for it. I can clearly see that's 2 pushes. It might be a bit messy in the middle, but it's a push, a little bit of side and a push. So it's still a push. And even if you count from the top, we've had 1 push up. We've come back a bit. We've had another push up. So it's clearly, and the fact that we had that one close below, that one close below, and then this one ticked above there and closed below. That's 1 tick off the perfect bearish bar after we've had this push down and a break. That to me, well, it's worth the trade. And I think you look at anybody else, or you know, people like Marco and Matt, we'll take that trade for sure. As long as the price action is the same. Sometimes it can look a bit different, but I love the way it's pushed up and closed perfectly below that. Even if the EMA is flat, that's by the by. Trouble is, you've had this push down, you've had this break. So as we get this break and this pullback, it's naturally going to curve. It's naturally going to take the curve off the EMA anyway. So, you know, saying maybe that, you know, some people might not take that because it's flat. That's by the by. You're naturally going to get that. We've had this little sort of, well, I don't know, wherever you get a break, really. Even this, we've pushed up here. EMA's gone flat. In fact, the EMA's going down. Why would you go long there? Well, if you went long there, look what happened. Boom, boom, straight up. So, you know, taking it from the EMA, it's... is it a 10 out of 10 trade? No, I'd say it's about an 8.5, probably a 9 out of 10 trade, that is. It's just the fact that it's hidden. If it was too clearer, then it may have been, and if it would have finished on its low, that might have pushed an extra point up, but I'll take them all day long as far as I'm concerned. So, how long have we been trading? 3 hours, 20 minutes. I think probably going to call it there, actually. That's a good day's work. Not too long day. Really nice chart to trade, that was. Didn't feel stressful. It's kind of nice to trade, that is, when you get a nice chart like that. A lot more clear. A lot clear pushes up, clear pushes up, clear pushes up. But so there you go. Another green day. It's always nice to get a green day, and if you can get them out like that, I suppose my average target, if I got an average target to hit every day, would be probably about $450, I'd say. That's probably one good trade. I tend to take anywhere between 3.5 to sort of 6.5, 8.5, something like that. So that figure to me is brilliant on 2 contracts. Now, if I'd have stuck with how Mac trades things and how he's teaching at the moment for 1 point, I'd have got 1 point per contract, so that would have been $200. So if I'd have sat for all that lot for $200, just taking a point, but it just goes to show all you got to do is look back on your charts and just look every trade. What did that make? So if I looked at that trade, that made more than a point. What did that make? Probably about 10 points. It's just out of interest. Let's have a look. So you took that trade, that went up to probably about 6 points. So if you're taking 1 point there, you need to think again, I think. What did this come down to? Probably not as much as I thought, because the ATR is lower. That came down, the same again. You know, if you'd really take that on that first sort of swing, you'd have taken 5. There's way more than 1 point. There's way more than 2 points. I got to say, I watched Taylor a lot, and I think he's nailed it. I love the 4 points. He trades 4 points, and that's what he does every trade. Now, if you take 10 trades and you trade 4 points instead of 2 points, let's say in every 10 trade, one of them loses. You're still doubling your profit on those other 9 trades. So it's a 1-to-1 is a no-brainer. Or if you say an average of 3.5 to 4 points, I don't think you're going to go far wrong there. But don't take my word for it. Save your charts, look back on your charts and work out, if I'd have taken that and I'd have had 4 points, would I made it? Yep. Same again, yeah. Look through them, and when you get to about 20 in a row and you realise you'd have doubled from 2 to 4 points, you'll have it in your head then. You'll have answered your own question there. But if you're not confident on your own charts, look at people like Mac's chart. Look at people like Marco's chart and follow that Taylor, and look at the Penguins guy. Look at all the people who are making those big money. So if you're taking 1 point, I think you're cheating yourself. You're making life difficult for yourself. I'm not saying Max got it wrong. I'm saying when Max started that system, that was probably the norm. And I know for a fact Mac does swing a lot of his anyway. He'll take his runners and he'll swing a lot. So Mac's old school. He's been doing it his way, and it works for Mac, and he does really well. But things are changing, and more people are making way more money out of it. But you know, if I took, say, 4 points on an average trade there, if you take 1 point, you've got to win 4 trades just to match me. You know what I mean? And not only that, if I'm trading 2 contracts, I pay about $8 in fees, and I'm making 4 points. If you're taking 2 contracts, yeah, and you're making 1 point, $100, you're still paying the same amount of fees. So you'll save money on fees by taking larger swings. So that's just my opinion anyway, but I didn't just come to this conclusion with a guess. I did my research. I looked back on traders who I know have been doing it longer than me and more experienced than me and more successful than me, and I looked at their charts and I found out where the good trades, and I just went through them one at a time. That one made 6 points, that one made 4 points, that one made this. And for me, it was a simple answer. That's why I went from 1 to 2 points. And then I went seeing people like the Penguins guy and Taylor, you know, making more than 2 points, an average of 1-to-1 plus more. That was a no-brainer for me as well. So I hope I haven't bored you or put you to sleep today. It's been a nice solid day. What I class one of the easier trading days. It was a lot clearer. So it's been an enjoyable day today. Hey Sam, how you doing? Good to see you smashing it. Yeah, it's nice when it works, mate. Makes you feel great on top of the world, doesn't it? And then you have a day where you hit red and your knees start to knock together and you start to think, what am I doing? So it is a nice feeling to end the day on a nice solid amount. It does make you feel good. I got to say, all winning trades make you feel good, don't they? But there's 2 winning trades anyway. Nice, easy, readable day today. I did think we were going to have a push up when I saw all the news this morning. So whether it'll last, who knows? But if you're carrying on trading, have a great day. I hope you've got some points out of today and some money in the bank. I appreciate all you guys hooking up with me and having a chat. It's great to chat to a bunch of people. I've got to say, it makes trading so much more fun. It definitely does, you know what I mean? And a little bit of advice on, you know, things like that. And you know, the odd time to adjust my charts. It's much better to have more traders' heads together. You know, they say 2 heads are better than 1. Well, what have we got? About 90 odd in here at the moment. So it's nice chatting with you all anyway. So I'll be here tomorrow. If you're carrying on trading now, good luck. And if you're not and you're going home or you're doing whatever you're doing, have a great evening. And I'll catch up with you again tomorrow. But I do stream every day. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and you'll get I believe, a notification that I am trading. So it'd be nice to bump into you lot again tomorrow. So have a great evening. Congrats today. Thank you, Valentino. Thanks, everybody. I, just as the next guy, like the positive comments. They make me feel better. And I hope I haven't waffled on too much and bored you. But that's the beauty of a volume switch. So if I'm getting in your head and you're waking up at night screaming, learn to use your volume switch and turn me down. So anyway, I'm on a bit of a break in a push-up. But I make it a point never to go back to my chart after. When I'm done, I'm done. Because I've had experiences of going back and trying to be greedy and make more money and end up getting shit on. And it ain't nice. So, good job, brother. Thank you, Ronnie. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening or afternoon, wherever you are. It's, what is it, tea time here? It's about 10 to 6 in the afternoon here in the UK. So, still early afternoon for most of you guys, or late morning for some of you guys on the West Coast. So have a great evening, and I will catch up with you all just before the Open tomorrow. So take it easy, guys. Thank you.